Oh, here we are. The month of February. How about that? January is always a weird month, right? Like you're coming off of Christmas, you got New Year's, you got you're resetting yourself. Everybody's setting 2022 goals or brand new year goals. Everybody's going to the gym to start out. And it's a long month. Generally speaking, around here, it's fairly cold, and it's been cold the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been the definition of cold. And then now you're into February. Super Bowl, end of college basketball, regular season, basically. The weather will start to turn just a little bit. Still cold the rest of the week, but here we are through the month of January. Proud of yourself?
Well, yeah, it is kind of a depressing season for football fans, though. I mean, this is like the longest time of the year where you have nothing to look forward to. Because at least once Christmas season ends, you get kind of bummed, but you do have the end of football, or at least like the postseason push, and then the beginning of the playoffs, and it's just incredible. And every weekend can still be filled with football. Thankfully, the NFL did extend the season 1 week, so we get halfway through February with still football. But after that, it just gets sad. I mean, you look forward to March Madness a little bit. Outside of that, I mean,
NASCAR.
NASCAR, yes.
For those of us who are not,
was possibly where I was going to go also, but yes.
Baseball just doesn't do it for me. So
opening day, I can get excited. South Carolina baseball is 2 weeks. Well, I guess it's 2 weeks away from this coming Friday.
Yeah,
South Carolina baseball will be. I get into the golf.
There's a lot of people that are very excited for this time of year, and we get texts every once in a while. 2 weeks, however many days till baseball season. But for those of us who are not really baseball people, it's not the same thing. I do like opening day. There's something special about opening day, and every opening day I'll watch the game and say, "This is the year. This is the year that it all turns for me, and I become a baseball guy."
Yeah.
And then a couple series down the road, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not watching 15 hours of baseball in a weekend.
Yeah, that's actually happened to me a lot.
It's happened to me every year for the last, 15 years.
Yeah, that's a common theme. But yeah, you're right. You got baseball. You're right. We got the end of we'll start to wrap up college basketball season over the next 28 days. That'll make it pretty entertaining. We'll see if South Carolina's men's team can make a run. That'll start tonight, and we'll get into that a little bit and see where they can go. As they've won 3 in a row. They've put together at least enough right now to keep you interested, to keep your eyes on the prize. South Carolina tonight. You can hear it right here on 107.5. The game, they make the trip to Starkville. The game will be a 7 p.m. Eastern time tip, which actually might be a good thing. That'll be a 6 p.m. Starkville tip, so it'll be an early tip-off there. The game will be on ESPNU, and again, you can hear it right here on 107.5. The game, we'll get into that game because you win that one, and Tennessee comes in 1 o'clock on Saturday. The game will be on CBS. That'll be a pretty big game for South Carolina in terms of really adding something to the resume for the NCAA tournament. So we'll talk about that this morning and get into the South Carolina Mississippi State game tonight against 7 o'clock. You can hear it here on 107.5. The game. We'll also get back into some NFL talk, a lot from yesterday, obviously. And the one thing we didn't get into a whole bunch, Patrick, was the discussion about Tom Brady. And just there's a lot of different ways we can go with the Tom Brady discussion, one of which is what it does for the NFC South. If you're the Panthers, you're the Saints, the Falcons, who is best positioned? Because we talked about this with in regards to the NFC South, when the Buccaneers decide or when Tom Brady decides he's going to walk away, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, whether it was going to be this year or next year, the Buccaneers completely go into rebuild mode. I don't even know what they do now for a quarterback. Who is the backup there?
Kyle Trask.
Okay, so they do have they had a plan, and it's going to be Kyle Trask, and now he'll get an opportunity to show what he can do. But
maybe
who do they keep around? Obviously, if Brady's gone, Gronk's going back to partying and hosting party cruises and who knows what. So, he's out the door. So we'll see. We'll talk about that, though, this morning because there's
parlay is perfectly timing to yesterday being I would call the official first day of draft season.
The official first day of draft season.
Yesterday was It's All-Star week, so it's Senior Bowl week. It's East-West Shrine Bowl week. The Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, featuring Zaquandre White and Kingsley Enagbare, and the East-West Shrine Bowl featuring Nick Muse. And Nick Muse has gotten some praise for his performance in East-West Shrine Bowl. That's kind of like the B game. The Senior Bowl is the big game where almost everyone in that game will get drafted. And they did the measurements yesterday, so it's hand size season, it's arm length season, it's all that good stuff. And there was a very big story coming out for the hand sizes yesterday. Probably the biggest hand size story we've ever had in the history of the draft.
I don't even know where to go with that.
Well,
I don't know if we do that after about 7:45, after the kids have been dropped off at school and
well,
the show becomes slightly more adult, or if we do it early.
Kenny Pickett
Kenny Pickett. Okay,
didn't measure his hands yesterday.
Don't spoil a good time
right.
there with that. Don't spoil a good time. We got plenty to get into.
Well, Enagbare measured very well. He was
All right,
big hands, long arms,
we'll
heavy. He's
we'll
it was
we'll
a
get
good
it.
day for Enagbare.
We'll get into all of that certainly, and plenty to discuss there. Again, a lot with the NFL with Tom Brady. Mr. NFL Draft over here is very fired up. If you want to weigh in this morning, you can do so 803-404-6100. That's how you can jump on board and add an opinion or a theory to anything regarding the NFL or to some college football. Excuse me. There will be some actually. We will get into some college football talk as well, because again, that situation in Auburn finally kind of resolving itself yesterday in regards to Austin Davis and what he was going to do. But man, weird kind of situation going on out there with Auburn football right now and what kind of transpired with Austin Davis. I actually talked to somebody, and they said it in a serious manner, a serious tone, Patrick, that basically Austin Davis, I don't think they were joking. There wasn't much of a smile. That Austin Davis basically showed up to the Auburn facility, took a tour, walked around, took a tour, went into his office, used the bathroom, and then went out to the parking lot and was never seen again.
What?
Like
Auburn has nice facilities, don't they?
Yeah, I don't think it was the facilities that something there, obviously not really working out. So it's
Did Brian Harsin give him the tour?
I don't know that part. It was just kind of I just trying to get some information. We may have somebody on from Auburn here later this week. There's a lot going on there, but that is
We did have Auburn guests during football season when they played Auburn, and I asked about Brian Harsin, like, personality-wise.
Yeah.
Guy didn't say anything really notable. He's not prickly or really anything. He's just kind of a football guy and kind of boring. I don't know. Maybe Austin Davis couldn't have learned much about him in that little time.
This is what Austin Davis had to say. They put out a release yesterday. He did not do an interview. Austin Davis did not for Auburn, but he did put out a release. He says, "The last week has been difficult for me as I've made the decision to step away from coaching football. Auburn University and Coach Harsin have been tremendous through the whole process. I'm grateful for the opportunity that was presented to me from a coaching standpoint, and equally as important, the way Coach Harsin has handled my current situation." This is more from Davis. He says, "My decision to resign is 100% based on personal reasons. After more than a decade in the NFL with the daily grind as a player and coach, I've realized how much I miss my family and my desire to spend more time with them. While I need to step away from coaching, I can't say enough about the first-class way I was welcomed into the Auburn family and the way this football program is run with a championship mindset and a focus on developing these young men into winners on and off the field." It's good quotes, just strange because he really doesn't know anything about the Auburn mindset or the way they're developing kids, given that he was there on campus, basically, from what I understand, less than about 48 hours.
But he just doesn't want to coach at all. He was just walking around like, "Oh, man, I don't want to sit at this desk, recruit kids, get on the phone."
I think a lot of it is, man, we talk about college football coaching. Tomorrow will, I guess, technically be national signing day, even though we've actually already had signing day. And so with all that being said, I really do think at times we don't understand enough about what college coaches have to do in terms of missing time with their families. I know Justin Stepp on Twitter, and he's not the only one. I know we know Eric Kimry has kids as well, young kids. But when you have young kids, you like to be around them. They're, watch them grow, learn to walk, learn to talk. You like to see the personalities come out. But as a college football coach, you're on the road.
Yeah.
You got to get on the road. And you got to go land kids that's going to help you keep this job and do what you need to do.
Do you want to guess how much money Austin Davis made in the NFL?
He was there. He was as a player.
As a player.
I'd guess he was there, 5 years as a player?
So I'm trying to see where he was. He went undrafted in 2012. I don't know how many of these teams he was on the roster. I mean, he only ever made one roster bonus and 3 signing bonuses. But he played for 6 teams from 2012 to 2018.
Okay. I'll go
Also, can you name any of the teams that Austin Davis played for? I could have named one, and he was only there for 1 year, but I did not know that he played for 6.
I think he played for the Rams.
Yes.
Okay, and might
That
have
was the one I
started a
knew.
game too.
And I actually think he might have started a game. I think he might have started a game for the Browns in one of those terrible seasons.
It's very possible. I think everybody at some point in their life has started a
So he
game for the
played for the
Browns.
Rams, Dolphins, then Rams again, then Browns, then Broncos, then Seahawks, and then Titans.
Okay.
You-
I'm going to go an average of 1.3 a year. That's 6 years. So that's roughly, I'm going to say just over 7 million. I'll call it 7.2 in his career.
Made $4.7 million.
Okay.
I don't think he was on the rosters for all of those years. I think he was a practice squad guy for a while. But $4.7 million, you can live a long way for that. He's from Mississippi. He went to Southern Miss, so I don't know. Maybe he's got a nice house paid off, and he's content to just sit on that money.
We will see. We'll continue to talk about that again. Austin Davis. That's the college football portion. We got plenty more we'll get into there as well. A lot to get into this morning. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us if you want to be a part of the program. You can also hop on the Buford Lending live stream and join us where DC, Trey, Anthony, Decor, Lloyd, LeVar, Michael, all up and at it this morning as they weigh in. Yep, plenty of other things. I agree. There's things. So a couple of y'all were weighing in. LeVar does ask if the USFL, some football there, professional football, you'd get fired up for that.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Okay, yeah, and I'm with Lloyd. He points out the Masters. Yeah, there are really good things here for the coming months. The Masters, the PGA Championship. You'll have some spring football games. So plenty to get excited about as we roll along. If you want to weigh in again, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning. Or again, you can go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, and join on the Buford Lending live stream and weigh in that way, just like everybody else already has. Let's get out to those Love Chevy phone lines. Daniel is up first this morning, wants to weigh in on Austin Davis. Good morning, Daniel. How you doing?
Hey, guys. I'm good. Yeah, I turned on the radio. I heard y'all talking about our short-timer offensive coordinator, so I figured I'd call in. I think there are a lot, at least for myself, and I know for the Auburn fans, the buddies I keep up with, we're just kind of glad it's basketball season right now. We don't have to worry about football and the debacle that is. But I think I'm still on board with Brian Harsin. It's a little frustrating how much turnover he's had in the coaching tree, but I know that happens occasionally. I don't, like I said, I just turned it on. What were y'all talking about with regards to Austin Davis?
He had put out a statement, just his statement, and yesterday it kind of became official. And again, you can go. I read it off of 24/7 Sports from Nathan King, just what Austin Davis put out. Because again, it is like you said, kind of an odd
what
situation.
You said you heard about his time in the building.
Yeah. Oh, the portion. Yeah, I did make a phone call yesterday that he basically showed up, took a tour, was given a tour of the facilities, stepped into his office, used the bathroom, walked outside, and wasn't seen again. So
yeah, I've got a buddy that follows all the boards and everything, and that's what he relayed to me. Was basically he showed up, was there for a day, and then they never saw him again. And then of course we had our big. I think Auburn had their big junior recruiting weekend this weekend, so that was apparently when it first got noticed when he wasn't around at all for any of that. So yeah, it's an interesting situation. I think I like Harsin and the culture he's bringing in. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next couple of years. Hopefully, y'all know how Auburn is. They like to fire coaches after about a year or two. They don't do what Alabama does, which is kind of unrealistic to me. But hopefully they'll give Harsin a chance, and maybe he'll prove all the doubters wrong. But we'll see what happens. All right, I'll let y'all go. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate the phone
Thanks,
call, Daniel. Yeah,
that's tough for a junior weekend. Hey, we did just lose our defensive coordinator. Our offense coordinator was here was it number 1 or number 2? Did you hear?
I don't know that. Yeah, no.
He was here for a bathroom break, but you should come. Yeah. You're going to love it here.
Swing through town. Now we'll see how everything plays out. It's South Carolina obviously playing Auburn the last 2 years and actually being able to get victories over the Tigers, something that was pretty rare given it had not occurred since 1933, which picked up wins over the Auburn Tigers, and Auburn always a program that I think South Carolina runs into a good bit on the recruiting trail. So as you just mentioned, you do kind of keep up with Auburn and also what's going on around the SEC as well. So
Roger McCreary from Auburn had sub 30-inch arms yesterday.
Okay.
Measured it.
All
Well,
right.
that's not really good for an outside corner.
So we'll get
Auburn
into
just keeps taking L's.
we'll get into more of it. We'll get into more of it. 803-404-6100. We'll get into more phone calls, more of your text messages this morning, and the Buford Lending live stream. If you want to weigh in, you can do it that way. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Live, local, and free. That's how we do sports. 107.5 The Game. Feel free to call and complain if you wish.
You should call that radio station and let him have it.
Remember, we are free of charge, after all.
Oh, we're talking about all the great things that start to occur when you get out of the month of January. One of them is, we're getting closer to spring, to summer, to being able to get back outside, to grill out, and use your pool. Now is the time, if you haven't already, to start thinking about your swimming pool maintenance, and Corley Pool Solutions is ready. Tracy Corley has 20 plus years of experience in the business, and he is ready to make sure that pool is ready to be used this coming spring and summer. So don't wait another minute. Call Corley Pool Solutions today, 803-445-8109. Flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. That's right. They will handle everything for a flat rate price. Make a weekly visit. Make sure that pool is sparkling, that it's beautiful, that it's ready to be jumped in when the weather turns. So don't wait until it's summer. Go ahead and start having that pool maintained today. 803-445-8109. There's so many types of algae out there. There's actually 40,000 different types of algae. You want an expert that is ready to keep your pool nice, clean, and maintained throughout the summer. Go ahead and call Tracy Corley today and get the process started. 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Things not too bad out there this morning on the highways. We do have one accident to let you know about. That is Universal Drive at Garner's Ferry Road. Nice forecast on tap. Sunny today, 60 for the high, overnight low of 35. And tomorrow looking for a high of 65.
All right, well, we're about 25 hours from getting the new official Washington football team name. Gonna get to break that news live. If it's the Commanders, then it has leaked out because everyone thinks that it's the Commanders.
The Commanders?
Yeah, people are referring to them as the Commanders already. If it's not the Commanders, I'll be a little bit happy just because it's embarrassing to just have it completely exposed like that. No one thinks it's going to be anything but the Commanders.
Got an early Super Bowl prediction?
26 to 21 Bengals. Four field goals from Evan McPherson, who's already 12 for 12 in the playoffs. He's going to be the Super Bowl MVP. what I'm going with.
I was just looking. Tennessee did stay in the polls at 22.
It's just that top hour thing for you. I don't find that little
The key.
hotkey thing. Still looking for like one of the hotkeys is totally revamped. It's like, okay, you guys can play with that one. Do not touch my hotkey page. Our hotkey page.
Gotcha. Yeah. I've been trying to read your shirt for most of the morning with Caribbean lifestyle, and there's flower. For the longest time, I thought you were wearing a Puma shirt.
Oh,
That was
China.
Punta Cana.
It's a little hard to read.
Well, I was like, oh, Puma sweatshirt. Okay, that's all right.
Look at me. Rocking the brand. Yeah.
Hmm.
Bill, have you been doing Wordle?
I have not. I don't even know what Wordle is.
It's fun. It's a good way to kill 5 minutes every day.
It is. I like it.
Took me 4 this morning.
I have not done
Just
Wordle.
knocked it out.
It's cool. It's just one puzzle.
Yeah, 6 tries. It's very difficult to not get it.
Trying to get a tweet out.
Kelly, we are playing golf not this week. Next Monday.
Next Monday.
I mean, I didn't need to come around, Kelly. I mean, I didn't think the Bengals were going to. I thought the Chiefs were going to win last week, but I love this Bengals team. I want them to win the Super Bowl.
Eight 803-404-6100. How you can join us February 1st. How about that? We are into the month of February, 6:25 on a Tuesday morning. South Carolina and Mississippi State tonight in Starkville. And Patrick, I was just going over the most recent college basketball rankings that came out yesterday. Kentucky with the blowout win over Kansas this past weekend in Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Kentucky moving up 7 spots to number 5. That'll be South Carolina's opponent next week. They will get them next Tuesday night. But this coming Saturday, South Carolina will get a ranked team in Tennessee. Tennessee losing over the weekend to Texas. They fell 4 spots and hold on to their ranking in the polls or stay in the top 25. They are now at number 22. In the most recent AP Top 25. But tonight, South Carolina traveling to Starkville, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see if you can get another performance from Jermaine Cousinard and Keyshawn Bryant to go along with James Reese. I think, Eric Stevenson is hit or miss too. That's going to be what propels this team into any kind of postseason play. If they can do that, is consistency really from those 3 players, because I feel like Reese is the guy you get the most consistent play from.
Well, yeah, but hasn't that been a theme of South Carolina basketball basically since the Final Four? I mean, I feel like every year we talk about on any given day, you don't know who's going to lead the team in scoring or really who's going to play well at any point. I mean, when's the last time? It really was Sindarius, wasn't it? Where you knew every game this guy's going to show up. And there hasn't been another guy since then. I mean, Chris Silva was liable to foul out in the first half any given game.
True.
When he played, he would play well, but that was not the case. And then Kotsar somehow his senior year played his best basketball and at least was pretty much in double figures every night. But you really haven't had a single guy that you can say he's going to get us 14 to 16 points minimum every night.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what you just described, though, yes, Silva was very consistent. Kotsar was very consistent. And right now you're getting it with James Reese. It's more of the surrounding pieces that you look at. You need guys, and we looked at Jermaine Cousinard and Keyshawn Bryant as guys that would be the backbones of this team. And then you'd have the filler guys in James Reese and Eric Stevenson. And hopefully you found a point guard to go along with that. But it's not been that way. It's actually been the opposite, where Stevenson and Reese ended up being the two guys that kind of have been the leaders of the team. And then you've had Bryant and Cousinard kind of along for the journey. Last game against Texas A&M, you got all four working together. And look, when they're working together and they're hitting shots, that's a tough group to stop. They can be competitive with most teams in the SEC. I don't know how competitive they would be against a Kentucky, but we'll find that out next week. They can win this basketball game tonight. Unfortunately, right now, for a betting person, you look at BetMGM, they're a 7.5-point underdog. And at Caesars Sportsbook, they're an 8.5-point underdog.
What was the A&M game, though?
I think 4.5. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. The over-under tonight set for 138.5. But, I mean, this is a team that, quite frankly, they can go out and they can play this game. They can play with Mississippi State, and they can be competitive. Mississippi State last week, again, took Kentucky in Rump Arena to overtime before Oscar Sheetway and Savion Wheeler were able to pull that game out. But over the weekend, Mississippi State absolutely blown out of the building. They were a 7.5-point underdog in Lubbock, Texas, to Texas Tech, and they got beat by 26, 76-50. As I said yesterday, Mississippi State's lost 3 of their last 4, but they've lost on the road at Florida, lost on the road at Kentucky, and on the road at Texas Tech. So it's not exactly like they're losing to bad teams.
Yeah.
They're losing to really good teams, and now they get South Carolina back at home. And to answer your question on the Texas A&M game, South Carolina was a 7-point, you're right, 7-point
Right
underdog.
Yeah.
On Saturday night when they took on Texas A&M. So about the same there.
But you've won 3 in a row. You're a little bit more confident. I don't know I don't know if it maybe benefits them that they're just sticking around in Texas and not getting too comfortable at home and shooting on different baskets and whatnot, because that was the issue, at least early in the season, just not being able to shoot the basketball outside of Colonial Life Arena. So this little away trip could be big for them. And like we said, I mean, there's still so much to play for. Everything's ahead of them, but you have to win games like this, especially with what you're looking at next week with a still top 25 Tennessee team and then a Kentucky team that's playing some of the best basketball in the entire country. You need to win this one and then give yourself a chance at one of the upsets next week. You've won 3 in a row. They should be pretty confident right now. Only Kentucky and Auburn have won more consecutive games in South Carolina right now. It's just that kind of conference at the moment. So you've got confidence. Go in there, win the game, and get yourself back home for a game that you should have fans excited about. You can't go out there and lose by double figures and then expect to fill up or have a big time home court advantage on Saturday.
Yeah, you're right about winning tonight. Winning tonight could create a great environment at Colonial Life Arena. Look, I'm not a huge fan of Colonial Life Arena, of the setup and the seating and 18,000. But I will say this, when you get a team that's rolling and you get a fan base that gets behind it, that does become a fun venue to go into.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't happen often.
Well, because of the sheer volume of people that can fit in there.
Yeah, and it's just you look at college basketball venues and look at how you can put 80,000, 75, 70,000 fans over at Williams-Brice Stadium, but getting 18,000 into a basketball arena a little bit more difficult. But I guess the point being is that arena, when South Carolina fans are into it, becomes a really fun place to be at. It can be loud, it can be a good environment. But I think the general feeling is South Carolina fans are probably good for about 10 to 11,000 fans a night, which at the old Frank McGuire Arena was phenomenal. And shoot, when you had a smaller crowd of 7,000, it was a great environment. 7,000 at Colonial Life Arena is less than half capacity, and it feels empty, and it feels cavernous.
And it looks empty on
TV. It looks bad.
Which is equally as important.
So I guess with all that being said, though, if South Carolina, you're right, if South Carolina can win tonight, if they can go into Starkville, a place that they've had ups and downs. They've been actually kind of competitive in Starkville. They just have had some games where a player from Mississippi State tends to get hot, come out of nowhere, get hot, and be able to score a bunch of points and pull out a victory. We'll see if they're able to carry that over tonight against the Bulldogs, who are 13-7 on the season, 4-3 in conference play. They had one game against against Missouri that was postponed. The other stat here to let you know, Mississippi State 11-1, Patrick, at home, 0-4 on the road. So it is going into Starkville. I've actually been over there to cover games a couple times. You talk about it's a smaller arena. People will turn out for that. Again, it'll be a 6 o'clock game, so I would imagine most people will be able to get over there and make it a pretty good home court environment for Mississippi State tonight.
Nothing else to do in Starkville, so they will be there.
Yeah. So Iverson Mullinar is the leading scorer for the Bulldogs. He comes into the game averaging just over 18 points a game, but is only shooting 28% from 3-point range. So he's a guy who's going to drive, who's going to put pressure on you, and he shoots 87% from the foul line. And the one thing about the South Carolina team, they don't mind giving a good foul. They don't mind giving a good foul to a couple guys every once in a while.
Yeah, so they'll put him there. I mean, that's just 18 points a game. Like that's just what South Carolina hasn't had. I mean, when's the last time South Carolina's had a guy that sniffs that? Do you know what James Reese is averaging on the year?
14.
I'm seeing.
No, I'm asking you. I don't.
I'm seeing 10.9.
Okay,
It's just like you need a guy. You need a guy that's just going to get you in the teens every night. And I don't even know. I haven't seen Mississippi State play at all. Like, what is the size on this guy? Is this like a slasher?
Yeah, he's a guy who's going to get to the basket, who's going to again create a lot of issues.
Is he like 6'7",
6'3", 190?
Oh, okay.
He's gonna attack the basket. He's going to attack you off the dribble. Our buddy Scott, who's the big Michigan State fan, I was actually thinking about Scott this weekend because I was watching Michigan State beat up on Michigan over the weekend up in East Lansing. But Rocket Watts is another guard that you keep an eye on. He was a transfer from Michigan State and transferred down. He's a 6'2", 185-pound junior from Detroit, and is a guy that on Saturday played 20 minutes and had 10 points against Texas Tech, and is a guy that South Carolina's going to have to slow down. You go back to the text line here, and anonymous texter weighs in, and this is a good point for tonight. Carolina doesn't need to let Mississippi State control the backcourt. They need to get the defensive rebounds and slow the ball down on the offensive side. Yeah, this is another game if South Carolina can turn it into a bit of a mud fight.
Yes.
They use rock fight all the time, which drives me crazy.
Slugfest.
Yeah. Drag it into the mud, make it icky, make it dirty, make it a game that, quite frankly, we go, they won it.
But that was ugly.
But that was not fun to watch. Yeah.
That's a lot of South Carolina games. I don't think they're a very fun team to watch.
803-404-6100. How you can join us. Speaking of Gamecock basketball, let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry wanting to weigh in this morning. Gamecock Larry, how you doing this morning?
Doing just fine. Went out there yesterday, spent 6 hours at the VA, got my new glasses, new hearing aid, and I can see and I can hear. Well, I tell you what, I got to learn how to talk again because they said I talked too loud when my hearing aid was messed up. But I'm squared away now. I think I'm all right. But we're going to have to go out there to Mississippi State tonight and take care of Mississippi State, which I hope and I believe we will. But you remember a couple of weeks ago, I told you that Cincinnati was going to win the Super Bowl, right?
That was last week, but yep.
Yep, no, that was week before last. When it first started, I told you Cincinnati Bengals was going to be in the Super Bowl. And I told you that. And I had to watch that game Sunday afternoon, and they are going to be in the Super Bowl, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. Another thing, I told you guys that old Horson was hired. He is not an SEC coach. He'll last this coming year, and they may not fire him this coming year, but he won't be the Mississippi. He won't be Auburn's coach in after next year. Well, he might last another 2 years, but I doubt it. But that's about all I got to say. I just want to tell you I'm fixing to fix me some liver pudding and grits. Get in here and sit and listen to my radio all day long. Ain't got to turn over Dan Patrick off from 9 to 12. I might have to turn that old Harrison Powell off though a little bit.
All right, there
he's
you
a-
go. We're not going to be negative this morning. You enjoy your liver grits.
I just want to pick a fight with somebody because I'm feeling good. I am feeling fantastic.
There you go. We'll get you out to the
That was
NFL Combine.
Almost a hot take.
Almost a hot take.
And not even. It went from Brian Harson's going to get maybe fired this year to, well, maybe we'll get 2 more years after this.
Hopefully he has a good one. He does sound very good. I will say this also. I think what I've realized about Gamecock Larry, we can get him into any sport, Patrick, if he can give a prediction.
Yeah.
That's what he wants. That's what he wants to do. He
Mm-hmm.
just now he's fully into the NFL because he's on the Bengals bandwagon. I think he's heading out there. He's going to take his radio. He's gonna just be ready to go with the Bengals. He's going to be, I guess, Bengal Larry now for 2 weeks.
Don't show him Joe Burrow's chain from this weekend.
Oh yeah. Did you
He's
see?
not gonna
If you
like
didn't
that.
see that, I haven't read the origins of if he did that on purpose, but I did see a lot of memes. I guess that was the look. Joe Burrow's post game press conference look was inspired by The Rock.
I've seen the picture of The Rock in the black turtleneck.
Yeah,
with the chain.
I assume that's what nobody. I don't know if Joe Burrow has answered. If you haven't, you can Google it and look at the picture.
But for
This-
pregame, he had a big cool jacket on too.
Yeah, Joe Cool. 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning if you want to be a part of the program. Again, getting into a little bit of South Carolina basketball there. We'll get back into the NFL. As Patrick said, what did you declare it? The official first day of the NFL draft yesterday?
The first day of the opening day of draft season.
And JJ Enagbare doing, where did he measure in at? Senior day? Senior Bowl?
Senior Bowl,
Senior Bowl. We'll get into that. We'll let Patrick break that down and analyze a little bit there, a little bit from the Senior Bowl there. JJ Enagbare looking pretty good. No, there was big hand news. Kenny Pickett. We'll get into all that. You're listening.
Small hand news.
Oh, okay. Small hand news. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
This is Gamecock basketball head coach Frank Martin, and you're listening to 107.
Now that we're into the month of February, are those New Year's resolutions still holding firm? One of them should, and that's keeping a clean house in 2022. And you can continue to do that with Zero Res, whether you want to spell it backwards or forwards. I'm telling you what, it's the right way to clean with that patented ZR water technology. You can give them a phone call today, 803-262-4020. Get them out to your house right now. $119 is all it'll cost for 3 rooms of carpet to be cleaned. And then if you say my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, they will clean your hallway for free. How easy is that? First, you just got to book. You can go online, ZeroResColumbia.com, or you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Once you do that, again, all you do is say my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You get your hallway cleaned for free right now. 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119. And I'm telling you what, that ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep your rugs, your tile, your upholstery insanely clean. You can't go wrong with that. So give Zero Res a phone call today, 803-262-4020, or again, book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
No, Kelly, it's still in the fridge. I'll probably make it sometime this month or before the expiration date, which is like mid-March.
That was my next
Not yet.
question.
I don't know.
Sounds
Haven't had it in
magical.
me. I haven't had it in me to cook it. I still don't know really how to cook it.
Butter and frying.
I guess that's it. Someone said bacon grease was the only way to do it. I don't have any of that.
Sounds to me like Kelly's going to cook it for you.
Yeah, I mean, you can have it, Kelly. I was excited to buy it. Haven't had that same inspiration to actually cook it and eat it.
All right, I did my Wordle. It took me 4.
Yep, same for today. Bill Austin's asking if you saw the Jim Harbaugh news. See the Jim Harbaugh news? No. He just said, did you see? He's getting flown out by the Vikes. What do you think, Austin? Should we take the Vikings job or stay at Michigan?
Oh. He was getting flown out to the Vikings? I did not see that. We'll have to talk about that this afternoon. The Harbaugh. We'll let Patrick get into some Harbaugh news too. All those job openings. We're starting to.
This will be Wednesday. Tomorrow they'll do a second interview with him.
Oh, wait. Harbaugh have a second interview?
They had I think a Zoom interview. Haven't done an in-person one.
I agree, Patrick. You do need to commit. Let's get on this liver pudding. Can't let that stuff go bad.
It won't go bad till March.
If it hadn't already gone bad.
Yeah.
It might have been bad the moment they made it.
I think whatever's in there just doesn't go bad.
Maybe we'll make Austin eat some liver pudding this weekend before the soccer game. Get Austin and his sister Ansley to eat some liver pudding. He's got big soccer tournament this weekend.
Oh,
2 soccer games Saturday. We'll see how Austin survives the weekend. He's got 2 soccer games on Saturday and a basketball game. 10:30 soccer, 2 o'clock basketball, 4:30 soccer, and then 9 a.m. soccer on Sunday.
I'm more worried about Dad.
Yeah, Dad's already contemplating days off. So if you two want to tell me what the best day for me to take off is.
Can't handle sitting and watching. It's just too much.
It's cheering.
2
hands. Small hands cheering. And it's supposed to be cold, I think.
Not as cold as last weekend, though.
yep. Can't talk for 3 hours after having to sit down for a whole day.
It's exhausting. Then 4 practices. Yeah, we got 2 practices tonight. That's right. We got basketball and soccer. And both are late. All practices apparently for 9-year-olds now start after 7 o'clock. New rec league rule. Soccer from 7 to 8, basketball from 8 to 9.
That's a bit much.
They don't go to school as much as we used to. They just practice later sports. Because he's off in February. He was off in January for like a 4-day winter break, and they got 4 days off in February. Well, not 4 days, but like a 4-day weekend, counting Saturday, Sunday. Off on a Friday, Monday. Here we go! 803-404. That's 6100. That's how you can join us this morning on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. You can also join along on the Buford Lending live stream where, as always, there's discussion of liver pudding. People checking on Patrick. Patrick's got a package of liver pudding that he's yet to fix, and now we're starting to question if it's going to happen.
We're not talking about liver pudding anymore.
Yeah, if you will eat your liver pudding, we'll move on from the liver pudding.
We'll talk about it again when I eat it. It'll get eaten. It'll get eaten before it goes bad.
Thinking about sending my son Austin over there.
There's a limit to how much you can talk about liver pudding.
Oh, we've flown past that.
We've
We've stepped so far past that line. It's ridiculous. So we'll move on to other things such as Senior Bowl and a chance
and East West Shrine Bowl.
Well, let's stick with the Senior Bowl for a second. The Reese's Senior Bowl, I believe.
Correct.
You're going to get into some JJ Enagbare news from
Mm,
yesterday. Well, because I want to know where you project him once you start to hear that, but also the guy that I think that as a local fan base, South Carolina fan base that we're watching this weekend is Zaquandre White because he can go over there. He obviously had a pretty good season and certainly a really good ending to the season to put himself maybe in position to be a late round draft pick. I think you said it, and I totally agree with you. If Tyson Williams can be on a Baltimore Ravens roster, Zaquandre White's got a chance to make a roster, and I think he can help you in more ways than just running back. He can be a really good special teams player with his attitude and the way he plays. So let's start with JJ Enagbare. You said that yesterday he did some really good things there and was able to measure very well.
yeah, he really didn't do anything other than just be big.
That's exactly what you got to do.
Which on Monday, which is measurement day, that's the only thing that you can do. So he's 6'3", 261, 10 and 2/8 hands, 35-inch arms, and a 83 and 5/8 wingspan. So just upper echelon size for that position. So I think he's going to have to perform well at the Senior Bowl. The best pass rushers in the country, or at least in this draft, are not in the Senior Bowl because they're coming out early. Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, those guys are not going to be at the Senior Bowl. There's mostly, which is going against Enagbare, is that he played his best football as a senior, and he's still kind of raw. But NFL teams are generally going to want the guys that have started and produced at a high level from day one and are freak athletes and are younger. So they'll always trend towards the juniors because there's just more to develop there. So I think he's got an outside shot at being a first round pick, but I think he's comfortably going to be a second round guy. He's comfortably in that second tier, if you want to call the first tier, probably Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, and then maybe like George Karlaftis from Purdue is in that category. But there's also just some complete freaks that have barely played football. Like last year, Jason Odafe Owe from Penn State was a guy that had played less than 5 years of football and just came in and was a freak athlete. This year, it's David Ajaba, the other edge rusher from Michigan, was born in Nigeria, grew up in Scotland, moved to New Jersey to play basketball. In 2017, played his first down of American football and is just so raw. So there's guys like that are just, they probably have higher upside than Enagbare, but I still think he'll comfortably be a second round pick.
What does Enagbare project best at is a stand-up linebacker, right? Not a hand on the ground. Is that where you see him best, especially after this? Because you said 261 pounds yesterday. It's not that that's small, but you start talking about going to the NFL, you got to have elite speed, or you got to be kind of strong. Let me ask you this, because this comes in on the text line as well. It's a good question. Says anonymous texter says, question for Patrick: when they test strength in the combine, do they test for grip strength or hand strength? It is kind of interesting. I don't think they do, but you're the expert.
No.
We look to you on this.
No, I mean the combine, it's kind of old school testing. So they'll just do bench press and they'll do 225, however many times you can rep it out. They might do teams might do grip strength tests, but I don't know what any of the metrics or numbers would be on that. I would be kind of interesting, but you're really not supposed to grip people. That's usually results in holding. But
well, I mean, if you're going to make a tackle and you're going to reach out and guys go by you, and you latch on there.
How hard you can grip onto their jersey.
I mean, it is.
While they're still running.
Look, of all the things that they do for the NFL Combine, would any of it really be that ridiculous if you were testing grip strength?
Some do more than others. I mean, the Bengals are notoriously have the smallest scouting department in the NFL. They don't spend any money. They don't have an indoor facility. Their players have to walk across a highway to get to practice. They have a small scouting staff, and they don't ever pay top dollar for anybody. So there's a lot of ways to do it. Some people go way over the top, and some teams like the Bengals do the bare minimum and just say, hey, this guy's good. Let's take him.
803-404-6100, how you can join us this morning. So Enagbare, let's go back to him for a second. You like him more as a stand-up guy coming off the edge?
I think he can be I think in a 4-3 he can play defensive end. I think he could probably comfortably do that. It's the field drills will actually be a big time for him, because if he can get out there and be really smooth in coverage, you're gonna have to cover a little bit if you're a 3-4 outside linebacker. Like, you'll be in charge of controlling like the flats, and when a running back trickles out, you got to be able to run with him. I don't know if Enagbare can do that. I mean, he's not that freakish of an athlete where he can. And I don't know if he's like completely smooth in the hips like that, like some of these other guys that you'll see. So I think he might actually be drafted to just be a hand on the ground, 4-3 defensive end.
803-404-6100. Now comes the interesting discussion. Kenny Pickett yesterday. What can you tell us about Kenny Pickett? And as I read on AL.com, the curious case of Kenny Pickett's hands.
Well, so he didn't measure his hands yesterday. Joe Burrow made headlines a couple years ago with small hands. They were 9 inches. Kenny Pickett is using the excuse that he's double jointed and has to can't stretch out his hand right because he's double jointed, so he can't get the right measurement. I think he's the only person to not get fully measured in every category yesterday. I scrolled through all the pictures of all of the measurements on the Senior Bowl, and there was no other NAs that I recognized. Maybe I scrolled too fast, but I do believe Kenny Pickett's hands were the only thing not measured of everyone at the Senior Bowl. Dane Brugler, who's a draft analyst for The Athletic, says that Kenny Pickett's hands have been measured at 8 1/4, which is beyond small. It would be the 0th percentile. Like, no one has ever had smaller hands than Kenny Pickett and been a quarterback. And I think the number, no one has ever eclipsed 1,000 or 100 snaps in a season with smaller than 9-inch hands. And Kenny Pickett's like well under 9-inch hands. So, and he wears gloves. And the NFL football is an inch bigger than the college football. So the fact that he already wears gloves to be able to grip the football because his hands are so small, the NFL football is going to be an inch longer in circumference or wider in circumference. It's actually an issue. There's a point where we laugh at the hand size discussion, but Kenny Pickett's got some tiny hands. Kenny two gloves.
Kenny two gloves. Oh boy.
So if Panthers fans were looking at, hey, we might take Kenny Pickett, he's the best quarterback in the draft, this might be the first hand size debate that genuinely drops someone substantially in the draft.
There were some other quarterbacks that were measured yesterday. We'll get into a little bit more as Patrick is just geared up.
Yeah. There was also one superhuman that was measured yesterday.
I did see that. We'll let you discuss that more. Hour 2 on the way. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Yeah, I kind of liked Kenny Pickett for Washington too. Do we have a ruler here? I mean, I have small hands, but I wonder if they're bigger than Kenny Pickett.
I thought at one time we had a.
Oh, brother. Are you guys looking for a ruler? Oh, I don't have one. I just was asking. There's got to be a tape measure of some kind. Use a piece of paper. Find out if they're between 8.5 and 11. And if you're double jointed, you should be able to stretch more, right? It shouldn't impede. I was double jointed and used to be able to bend my finger all the way back. I can't do it anymore. But that's what I said, Josh. Piece of paper. You know, you'd be between 8 inches and 11 inches, right and a half. No luck yet? Huh. I wonder if we have one in the rack room. I don't want to get trouble though going in there. Start with the paper.
What are we going to do with paper?
I mean, like little, but can you measure what's the span? Is it the span that way? Yeah. So I mean, if you were able to go there, you're 11.
Side to side, be 8.5.
Yeah. Okay, I've got that much. But tiny hands. We got to do the turkey thing where you do your hand, Bill does his hand. Oops. Yep, do that. Isn't that how they do the NFL? He's big.
Oh, I know.
No, he just do that.
I mean, my hand is wider than the piece of paper, and it's 8.5, right? So that would be bigger than 8.25. And I cannot grip a football well. I have small hands. Kenny Pickett's hands are tiny. That's like a serious concern when I realize how a football feels in my hand. It's bigger. It's a full inch bigger around. And it's half an inch longer.
There's all that. Hey, so I guess nobody has to do the other stations back there at all. Our number 2 of the early game, first Tuesday in February 1st. So we have gotten through the month of January and we are on into February. Valentine's Day is not too far away, 2 weeks from yesterday to be exact. I think somebody hit us up on the text line earlier and said Valentine's Monday. It'll be a Valentine's Monday and Super Bowl Sunday back to back. Does that cause problems? I don't think so. We kind of debated that a little bit yesterday, just in terms of Valentine's decisions. Maybe you'll have a Saturday night Valentine's night out with your significant other or that special social media app date that you meet somehow, some way. You create a nice Saturday night, but I don't see much of an issue there. Do you, Patrick?
No. I think Valentine's Day is a day, not a weekend. I disagreed with that concept of Valentine's.
Well, no, it
Day
doesn't have,
weekend.
it's not necessarily it's just because when you have kids or for some people they work and doing an 8 p.m. dinner on a Monday night when you got to get up and go to work on a Tuesday morning, it's easier to have a more relaxed Saturday night dinner and say that's it, and then do something a little bit lighter on Monday where you're not out all night.
By the time you have kids, isn't it less important? I mean, isn't it just you get flowers and something like that in the morning, you go to work, and then that just is what it is. Maybe you make dinner. I think my dad would just make dinner or buy flowers in the morning or something like that, and it was never. I don't think it was ever a crazy thing. Maybe sometimes they would go out to dinner when we were older, but when we were younger, I can't ever remember them making Valentine's Day a big thing.
Well, again, that's because you probably were doing some kind of it's lacrosse season now, right?
Yeah, but I didn't start playing lacrosse till middle school.
There you go. I mean, you start practice. I would imagine they had to get you to practice. You got
exactly.
another brother. You got another sister. I'm sure that they were doing something.
Exactly.
There's a lot going on as the kids get older.
I still go with the philosophy of if you have to do something for Valentine's Day, like do something at a different time of year. Like if you want to send flowers, do that, but not on the day that everybody gets them.
So obviously, this program will not be the program you turn to for Valentine's Day advice over the next 2
I
weeks.
mean,
So if you're coming to the early game for Valentine's Day advice, boy, are you going to the
I know, right?
wrong
I don't
place.
think there's that many people that are like gung ho Valentine's Day people.
No, the industry itself pushes it, but I mean, like to
Wait
go
a minute. Who is the industry? Big Valentine?
yeah, Big Valentine, just like Big Carrot. There's Big
Mhm.
Valentine. Yep.
Yeah.
They're pushing it
I
all.
mean,
Started at Christmas.
you get a nice card, you get some chocolates and flowers.
But do you
and
have to do it that day? Like, can't you just surprise somebody instead of it's expected?
You don't. It doesn't even have to be. It does. It just has to be like some gesture to make it known that you love and care about someone. It doesn't have to be like this extravagant big
Agreed.
thing. Like last year, I made some food. I can't even remember exactly what I made, but I made food and got flowers and chocolate and a card, and that was it. Nothing over the top. It just do something
Just
so that you're
acknowledge.
not
Yeah.
the person that completely is ignoring the holiday.
If you want to bake cookies,
Yeah.
just put them in the shape of a heart. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. So again, if you're coming to this program for
If you have to
Valentine's Day
go-
advice, boy, are you
If
in
you
the
have to go that far over the top and like buy a 6-foot teddy bear and like go to a 5-star meal, there's something wrong there.
I will say this about Valentine's Day. One of the worst candies all time is those hearts
The
that you get
conversation hearts?
that have the
Yeah.
like people would give those like when we were in elementary school or middle school. You just get the box, they'd give them out.
Yep.
And those are awful. I don't know what those are made of, but it's not. They were all made in the 70s. They
Yep.
don't make them anymore.
Nope.
They're still in a warehouse somewhere, I believe, out in the Midwest. And just at every Valentine's, they just go in and they have more and
Out
they
around
just
Area
send them.
51.
Yeah,
Mhm.
those things are awful.
We need people to attach names to some of their texts because we just got a text on the Cool Heating and Air text line that says, "Why do men get upset when women don't give them something for Valentine's Day?" Do we? Is that what happens? I'd be okay. I'm usually okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've got
That sounds like a very specific targeted situation that this one texter has been through.
Mhm.
He's getting it out.
Or it's a guy texting in, yeah, my girlfriend or my wife never gets me anything for Valentine's Day.
Not attaching his name, but hoping that we would read it and that she
Anonymously,
would hear it,
yeah.
and that
She's in the car right now,
Yeah. They're both heading to work.
hoping that we were going to give the answer. Yeah, well, we get upset because no, I don't care. Valentine's Day is just a day to do something, make a gesture, and show that you care. And it doesn't have to be big. I've never met anyone that really felt like they needed to go all out on Valentine's Day.
Flowers, card, bottle of favorite wine, dinner. That's from Alan weighing in. Justin saying on the text line, wife's birthday is the 9th, double whammy, cha-ching. It's actually kind of amusing. I'll read this one. How did all the Valentine's candy make it to the stores during the supply chain problems? That is my question. That's actually a pretty good one, is right.
funny.
And then another anonymous texter says, is Patrick right about Valentine's after kids? As a new dad, I need to know. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think after like the first year, the first and maybe second Valentine's Days together, where it's still new and you feel like you need to express your love over the top way when you've been together for a long time. You
And I
just
would-
don't need to do it.
But I would say, if you're a new dad, any little extra something you can do for the wife after kind of the whole pregnancy and all that.
Oh,
Yeah.
now we're
A little
offering.
boost there might not be bad.
Now we're offering advice. Drew weighs in on the text line. Conversation hearts are made from those nubs of chalk you can't use anymore. We're pretty sure that's exactly what it is. We'll continue. Plenty of time. Less than 2 weeks till Valentine's Day, and it comes the day after Super Bowl Sunday, which we've been discussing this morning. Here's what we've been talking about, sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Patrick, we've gotten into the Super Bowl a little bit, the Cincinnati Bengals, and yesterday's, official start, as you labeled it, to NFL draft season with the Reese's Senior Day Bowl weigh-in, check-in, and all those things. So you mentioned J.J. Ngbare doing what you're supposed to do with that thing, and that's be big. Look good, I guess. Look good at the measuring table. So he did a very good job there. We've been talking about that. South Carolina tonight on the road at Mississippi State, 7 o'clock. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. You can also check it out on ESPNU. Scott weighs in. Patrick, who do you have more faith in tonight? The Gamecocks or the Terrapins? I don't even know who. Let's pull up the
Michigan State.
Ooh,
I have more faith probably in Maryland because they're at home, and Michigan State has been as I guess Michigan maybe more so, but as close to a rivalry as you'll get for Maryland in the Big Ten. It's not the same, but generally that fan base does kind of get fired up for Michigan State just because they're among the cream of the crop of the Big Ten, and they have the history, and people hate Izzo. So I think that'll probably be a good turnout. And Maryland does have a legit home court advantage when it's cooking, but it's not been the same with Danny Manning, knowing that you have an interim coach and not a very good team. So I guess I have more faith in the home team, but barely.
that'll be tonight against South Carolina and Mississippi State. And as Patrick was talking about there, Michigan State. Scott, our resident Michigan State fan, and Sparty going into Maryland tonight. They are a 4 to 5 point favorite there on the road at Maryland tonight as well. So a lot of college basketball now is kind of where we go. Obviously, this week also Pebble Beach taking place out in California. We will kick off some golf talk with a new golf segment. We will either debut tomorrow or Thursday, finalizing the details on that, but get into some more golf talk throughout the year, similar to what we do with NASCAR. So if you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100, how you can join us. You can also hop on the Buford Lending live stream, as people always do. David, Larry, Jason, Kelly, all in on the Buford Lending live stream. You can go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click subscribe, join, watch, and weigh in there on the chat room as everybody gets involved and weighs in on the candy hearts situation. Jason saying the candy hearts are better now that sweet tarts make them. So I can see where that's an improvement. Although
they still have the generic brand where they're like,
those things are always going to
minty.
be around. Like that's something that it doesn't matter whatever happens. Those will be that'll be like the last meal that's ever on earth. Those and Twinkies.
I know that Lewis Black had a bit where he said that all of the candy corn in the world was made at one time and it just gets recirculated for every Halloween and Thanksgiving.
Same thing with these.
Exact same thing. They just know no one's eating them. Most people aren't even opening the box.
Most people are using them for the kids to make cute little cards and stuff, glue them onto things. Yeah.
There's not a person in the world that actually likes to eat them.
No,
I'm certain of that.
Not to my knowledge. At least if they're out there, we've
supposed
never
to
discovered that person.
In statements like that, but there's no one that actually likes to eat them.
But now if Sweet Tarts made them, or if you said they've started to make them, that'd be worth trying.
Sweet Tarts are good. I don't really like sour candies. I'm just a chocolate guy, but I could eat a couple Sweet Tarts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean you buy the box of the heart-shaped chocolates,
Yeah.
But
The
you give that to
Russell
yourself?
I actually did eat one of those last week or the week before. So I was in CVS and I saw them and they had a $5 box and I did buy it and eat it myself. Yes.
You know what? That's really which I guess we won't go down this path too much, but that's what really Valentine should be, is a day of self-care. Take care of you.
Yeah.
Buy something for yourself, because we're always doing for other people. It should be a self-care holiday. What do you think?
Well, we joke. I think we joke about me being the selfish one of the program, but when it comes to Valentine's, turns out Jen's all about herself, not really worried about anybody else. Don't care about your significant other. It's a day of self-care for you, mental self-help. I see for you, to buy for you, worry about you. So, yeah, there's that. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure that you come to the early game for Valentine's Day advice, candy and food advice. We got you covered.
Well, that is like the one time of year that I'm sure Russell Stover actually does make candy, not in heart shapes, but I've never seen it. They have to make 99% of their profits this month.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that's my
And
only
I have
chance
other
of the
brands
year
that
to
are
eat
actually
them.
better that I could recommend.
What's
From
another
North.
brand?
Oh, Fannie Mae.
Huh.
Or Frango Mints. Oh.
What?
Frango. And
What
there's
is
the
it?
Frango liqueur, but there's also Frango mint. Oh, dude, I'll bring some in.
Okay.
I keep them
All right.
on hand.
Again, self-care. Self-care
So
right there.
Ray says that he is the one person that does like the conversation hearts. And then we did just get a text, save the conversation hearts in case you run out of
It's
Tums.
probably true.
It's
Actually,
actually a great idea.
it's actually
The best advice of the morning so far.
There you go.
Factual. 803-404-6100. We'll get back into sports. South Carolina, Mississippi State tonight over in Starkville. 7 o'clock is the tip time. And, of course, you can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. You can check it out on ESPN. And we'll get back into some NFL discussion as Tom Brady, Patrick, we really do at some point got to get into some Tom Brady discussion because what does it do just for the NFC South and for the Carolina Panthers? Well, also part of that.
I mean, he said yesterday, he actually spoke yesterday and said it's not decided yet.
There you go. We'll get into that a little bit on the Tom Brady discussion. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game. 7:19 on a Tuesday morning, February 1st. Hope you're staying warm out there. It is chilly today. I think the high, Jen, is what's supposed to be in the mid-50s. Are we getting into the mid-50s today? Okay, so hopefully it'll warm up for everyone out there. But as you get up and get out, get the kids to school, get yourself to work, stay bundled up. It is chilly this morning as we start the month of February. If you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100. You can do so on the text line or the Love Chevrolet phone lines. Again, as always, you can go and join us on the Buford Lending live stream. Hope and RL now joining in the party on the live stream. You're right, Patrick. Yesterday, as you mentioned, Tom Brady speaking on his podcast, the Let's Go podcast, and basically his comments are that sometimes it takes some time to really evaluate how you feel and what you want to do. That again was on his latest episode of his Let's Go podcast with Larry Fitzgerald and Jim Gray that was released yesterday. Brady went on to say, I think when the time's right, I'll be ready to make the decision one way or another, just like I said last week. And, Patrick, I would imagine most football players, regardless of age, obviously never having played the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, when you go through a grueling season, your general feeling is when the season ends, maybe you're kind of ready to hang it up for about a week or so, that you're just worn out. Your body's physically beaten up. You haven't been around your family that much. You want to see them, maybe your kids or something. And then your competitive juices kick back in and you think, okay, let me get back into the gym. Let me start working toward another championship. Rob Gronkowski, I think, said it perfectly last week when he was asked about retirement. He said, yeah, right now, no, I don't want to play. I'm tired. My body's beaten up. I want to relax. I want to go to the beach. He said, if I had to make a decision today, no, I would retire. He said, but I don't have to make a decision today. I'm going to take a few weeks to decompress and figure things out. And so the Adam Schefter report over the weekend that Tom Brady's going to retire, is that probably what's going to happen? I lean yes. I think that's what's going to happen. But at this point, a week removed from losing to the Rams, I would feel like at 45 years of age, or 44 now, he'd be 45 in August. That's where he is leaning.
I think that it is good information that Adam Schefter wouldn't. He's been in the game long enough to not act on bad information. I just fully believe that Tom Brady, when there's smoke, there's fire. His Man in the Arena show on ESPN Plus has not released the last episode yet. I just feel so confident that it was Tom Brady's production company leading the charge, putting together a great last episode, a farewell thing that was going to be timeless, and he would be able to break the news via his own show with his own production company, which is going to set the tone for the next stage of his life and the next career path that he embarks on. But Adam Schefter, because it's ESPN, got the information and was able to get a strong enough information that he was able to report it. And he just doesn't care about Tom Brady. All he cares about is being the first one to the scoop. So I do believe that Tom Brady had it planned out where he was going to make that announcement. But I don't know if he's genuinely considering just spitefully playing another year. And maybe he's either stalling right now so that people will stop talking about it, and then he can finally come over the top once enough people have stopped talking about it and make the announcement himself. It is kind of a weird time where some people, like ESPN, is operating as if, and Schefter is talking as if, yeah, Tom Brady is retired. He is a retired player right now. So whatever he's saying, ignore that because I'm telling you, he's retired. And then some people are like, well, as far as I'm concerned, until he says something, he's playing next year. I think the Bucs might be kind of operating as if he's playing next year. It's a really weird situation. So I hope that for the sake of the story, he's spending this time to talk to Giselle and say, hey, I know what we agreed on, that I would retire, but you saw what Schefter did, right? Please, you got to let me have one more. Let me have one more spite year. And then if everyone kind of knows, clearly this will be his last year, next year, maybe he gets that one extra free agent because they say, not only do I have a chance to play with Tom Brady, the last year, almost guaranteed to be the last year of Tom Brady, let's go win a Super Bowl. Maybe Chris Godwin sticks around for another year. Like, they do have the opportunity to run it back. If the Bucs roster will fall apart here soon. They're not going to have the money to keep it up, but they have enough money to keep it intact for one more year. For one more run.
For those wondering, because this has been brought up about Tom Brady's contract, there's a good article breaking it down on sportingnews.com. Tom Brady retirement, February 4th, signing bonus timing. Here's how it breaks it down. It says Brady signed a 1-year extension with the Buccaneers through the 2022 season, a contract that included a $20 million signing bonus per Spotrac, a website that they've linked there in the article. $15 million of that signing bonus was deferred to February 2nd, 2022, a possible date for Brady to officially announce his retirement. It says his agent, Don Yee, said as much when the news initially broke on Saturday that he was retiring. This is a quote from Don Yee. He said, Brady knows the realities of the football business and planning calendar as well as anybody, so that should be soon. The Sporting News article goes on to point out, though, there is a potential hitch for Tom Brady if he does indeed choose to retire after February 4th. His current contract stipulates that if he were to retire after the 2021 season, Tampa Bay could recoup $16 million in signing bonuses. Such a decision would negate Brady's post-February 4th signing bonus and render the timing of such a decision moot. In other words, and I don't have the contract in front of me, basically that signing bonus thing is kind of irrelevant because of the way the contract's worded. Yeah, he does get $15 million after February 2nd, for tomorrow, but because he would retire after the 2021 season, Tampa could actually get $16 million back of the $20 million signing bonus. It does just go on to say there's the possibility that Bucs could pay him the full $15 million signing bonus without incurring any penalty for retiring before the completion of the current contract. It said Brady has been more than a sound investment, leading Tampa to the second Super Bowl title in franchise history and first since 2002. And it says also the two parties could work out a deal where the team does not incur the $16 million penalty, yet doesn't pay the $15 million signing bonus to Brady.
I personally think this all revolves around Groundhog Day tomorrow. If the groundhog sees his shadow, Tom Brady's going to play another year of football.
Yes.
Well, it does revolve around Groundhog Day, but it
Mhm.
has more to do with Washington's team name being announced. I think Tom Brady is waiting to see if it's a sick name.
That is
Then
actually
he might come play for the Washington fill in the blanks.
That
He's not
is-
going to want to be a commander, though.
we have we have not gotten into that, and we do need to get into that. It is a big, big day for Patrick Perrette tomorrow, and Patrick's excited because I think we'll be able to technically, I guess, break the news.
It's expected to be announced on the Today Show between 7:30 and 8:30.
I think they're going to actually put the uniform on the groundhog.
Oh, that
It's-
that would
everything's
be
tying into it.
that would be something. Although I think is Punxsutawney Phil still alive, or are we on Punxsutawney Phil the 5th or 6th? Or
He's
I think
timeless.
it's just Punxsutawney,
no, I'm pretty sure his name's Phil, isn't it?
Yeah.
but it's not Punxsutawney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. Punxsutawney Phil.
It was
Because that's
Punxsutawney.
Punxsutawney. Maybe it is.
Oh, great. Candy, the English
Yes.
language,
I think
liver
I might
pudding.
watch. Maybe it is Punxsutawney.
I think it's always pronounced that
What time
way.
do
Is
they
that
wait?
in New York, right?
No, it's in
Pennsylvania?
It's in Pennsylvania. What time do they pull the little
It actually
groundhog
is.
out of
It's
his?
Punxy.
I watched
PHLA.
Groundhog Day enough.
It is on Hulu. I saw that scrolling by. I might watch it.
I have watched that
Today or
movie enough to
tomorrow.
I don't like it.
feel pretty confident with that name. So yeah, so tomorrow morning we'll have a bunch of breaking news. We'll be able to give you a complete update on what's happening with the groundhog and what's happening with the Washington football team, as they will have a name announcement tomorrow.
They're
Did
gonna
you
be
say
the
what time?
groundhogs.
It's going to be announced on the Today Show.
gonna be
So
announced on the
between
Today Show.
7:30 and 8:30. So I will put on. That's NBC, right?
I believe so.
Between
on-
7:30 and 8:30, is this like, an appointment for a serviceman to come to your house? They
Pretty
can't
much
Yeah.
narrow it down a little bit?
Yeah.
whenever the jersey's officially
Well,
made,
I'm
or
sure Al Roker's got to cook something, or I've heard
give the
that-
weather and cook
but
something at the same time.
People are upset that it's being announced on Today's Show and not being announced in DC. But I have heard that the Today Show is apparently just all cooking now. So I don't know. A bunch of cooking, and then we'll have a new name. It is just dumb. I think that they don't want to do it in DC though, because they know that there will be boos.
Okay, that makes sense.
People are not going to be happy. about it.
Washington fans are known for booing their football. team.
And the plan is, I think in New York with Craig Melvin, who's a DC guy, is going to be Jason Wright, the president, and then Dan and Tanya Snyder are supposed to speak at FedEx Field immediately following the announcement.
You
And
remember
people
that?
can come by and buy their new gear.
You remember Craig Melvin was here for a while,
Right.
I didn't know he was here.
Mhm. Early in his
Cool.
career.
There you
Look
go.
at that.
Look at it.
He's
All
married to Lindsay Zarniak, who was also a DC girl on
All-
DC sports for a
all
long time.
all ties in. We'll continue talking about that. We'll get back into the basketball game tonight. South Carolina and Mississippi State, 7:00. You can hear it here on 107.5 The Game. You can also check it out on ESPNU. The Gamecocks at 8-point underdog. We'll continue talking about that. Get more back into the NFL discussion. The Reese's Senior Day Bowl, Senior Bowl going on down in Alabama. A lot to get into as we roll along this morning. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Now that I'm reading his bio, I think I
And we do have
remember
things
this,
moving
but,
along. More traffic on the highways, which means a
coming
few
out
more incidences to let you know about.
strong in defense of Craig Melvin. Yeah, he met his wife in DC after working at WIS. Got a million texts about this. Not a DC guy. No, if you work in DC, you're a DC guy. You meet your wife in DC, live in DC for a long time, you're a DC guy too. What? There's no point of taking yourself out. I can't talk while you're doing a spot. You might as well just let everybody watch you record the live spot. It's behind the scenes. People like that.
Getting that heating and air unit working properly during the cold months is crucial, but the summer months are just around the corner. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Get AAA Heating and Air out to your house for a $59 inspection and make sure that heating and air unit is ready for when summer comes. 803-677-1500. That's AAA Heating and Air. The cold month of January is past us, and now we start to look ahead to spring. But you got to make sure that heating and air unit continues to work properly. Have you been in touch with AAA Heating and Air? Give them a phone call. If not, 803-677-1500. Of course, you need to tell them you heard it here with Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game. Get them out to your house for a $59 inspection to make sure that heating unit is working properly and the air conditioner will be working properly. If there is a problem, AAA Heating and Air will make sure you're taken care of. They'll offer you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit Then, no money down, 0% financing for those who qualify.
You ran out the clock.
So close, but we got 2 of them done. 4 more to go.
We're not even in program 1.
7:36 on a beautiful Tuesday morning. Hope you're doing good out there. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. First day of February as we roll along into night. South Carolina and Mississippi State from Starkville. Gamecocks right now about a 7.5 to 8.5 point underdog. A couple of you weighing in though on this particular game this morning and adding in there that South Carolina, this could be a great opportunity. Richard hit us up on the text line, said South Carolina will be fine tonight. Mississippi State does not shoot the three well. They have a driving, physical style of play, which plays into Carolina's hands and will allow us to stay in the game as long as the Bulldogs don't press on defense. Levesque or Josh Gray are going to have to step up against Garrison Brooks. And Patrick, that is one thing you look at this basketball team, and we talk about consistency. Willens Levesque is never going to be Chris Silva. He's not going to be a guy who's pouring in 20 points and 10 rebounds. I don't see that. But you have gotten a quality season by and large from Willens Levesque down low. And we talk about consistency. I know that he's had a few games here and there that haven't been great, but he has been a consistent presence down low. He's been a leader. You can make the case he's been every bit the leader that Eric Stevenson or James Reese has been. And I think, going back to what was just said from Richard, Levesque has got to have a good game tonight. And Josh Gray has come along a little bit over the last few games and is another guy that I think you need to step up tonight.
What constitutes a good game? I mean, because I know like he's been solid, but I mean, in college basketball, you have some big men that take over games. Like Willens Levesque will never in his career take over a game.
Don't say never. I could see him doing one game, but he's not going to be a guy that we ever go.
Well, not take over the 25 points and 15 rebounds. Like that's not.
Yeah. Like if he does, he could do.
That's not going to happen.
It's happened to players that I thought it would never happen before. Like, was it Kotsar the first time he did it? Now the senior year, obviously, he developed into a much different player. But I think his junior year, he had one of those, and we all went, "Oh, where did that come from?" Levesque in the last game had 4 points. Again, him getting to double digits is a great game. That's what it is. And he had a string of double-digit games earlier this year, but he did have 5 rebounds in the last game. He played 27 minutes, and he also had 3 blocks. Again, those are stats you look at. Now, one other part of this is a guard-dominated team, and we talk about Reese, Stevenson, throw Keyshawn Bryant in there as a guard, Jermaine Cousinard, and we'll even throw Devin Carter in there as a guy that could go off and be able to have 12, 14, 16 points. So Levesque's not going to be a scorer. What I look at for a solid game for him, at least 5 rebounds, preferably more. And again, the blocks, getting 3, getting 4, being a presence on the interior is where you get that from him. And Josh Gray didn't play much against Texas A&M. you also want to see if Taquan Woodley's a guy who comes back in and did not play against A&M.
and
But
might not play tonight either.
yeah, you never know. I mean, you don't know. So, my point is, again, the interior presence of South Carolina is definitely going to have to be on display tonight against a Mississippi State team. Garrison Brooks, a North Carolina transfer as well, by the way.
A lot of transfers on that team. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you can expect. I mean, that's basically what it would be, is just solid play. Block a couple shots, try not to foul too often, rebound, don't give up to offensive rebounds, just be able to control possession. It's just, yeah, you're really not going to be able to ask for like double digit points. I mean, maybe Levesque gets you 10 to 15 points, but you're not going to expect
I don't think it's a good sign if he's getting that many points. That means the guards are not having a good game. If he's up around 14, 16, that probably tells me that South Carolina's not shooting the ball well, or he's getting
second chance points.
He's getting a lot of second chance points. I'm not
second chance points are still a good thing.
I'm not putting that down. It just South Carolina's going to live and die with James Reese and Stevenson and Cousinard, and to a lesser extent Keyshawn Bryant. Those guys have to score, and they have to take care of the basketball as well. And it just, this is not a team that's built around throwing it into the post and having things happen in that manner. And Wildens Levesque is just not that player either. He shoots short jump shots off of pick and rolls. He's not a pick and pop 3-point guy. He shoots layups around the basket, and you hope he makes those. His game is not conducive to having a monster breakout point game. He can get you 10, 12 on a great night. But I look at the rebounds. You got to have a presence tonight in the lane.
Yeah. So, and that, I mean, if Taekwondo Willie doesn't play, just stay out of foul trouble so that you can at least have those two. You can have the two, long, legit centers in Levesque and Josh Gray. They can stay out there for long periods of time, not have to get pulled early because they pick up 2 fouls early or 3 fouls midway through the first half, and keep them on the court, and just not even if you're not blocking shots, you need to affect shots. And you mentioned the guy, 87%, their leading scores 87% from the free throw line. Affect him, but don't foul him. Keep them off the free throw line. Don't let this guy shoot 12 free throws or more, and you have a chance to win.
Yeah, Mississippi State, again, has lost, as we pointed out, has lost 3 of their last 4. However, those losses have come against really good teams. Last week, it was 2 losses to top 15 teams. They went on the road and lost to Kentucky in overtime in Rupp Arena, and then got blown out by Texas Tech on Saturday as part of the Big 12 SEC Challenge. Texas Tech was 13th in the most recent rankings. So, again, losses there for Mississippi State to 2 really good teams last week. They beat Mississippi 2 weeks ago and lost to Florida as well on the road. And going back to the post players, Garrison Brooks tonight, a guy that you watch for. Again, he's averaging 6 rebounds per game, 11 points per game, and is averaging just under 30 minutes a game for Mississippi State. And that's the guy that you pay attention to. He and DJ Jeffries, the other solid post player who's averaging right at 10 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, Patrick. And those are the guys that South Carolina has to match up with in the front court. The back court, he's talking about Iverson Mullinar, who comes in as the team's leading scorer at 18 points a game. And again, Rocket Watts is a guy that you keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, it is crazy. They have so many transfers. So, yeah, I'm just looking at their stats. I mean, they got pummeled by Texas Tech. Did you watch that game?
I watched a bit of it. I've watched Texas Tech, and they're good. Texas Tech is long. They're physical. I can never remember their brand new coach's name because he's been around down there forever.
They've got a monster one tonight. Did you see the video yesterday?
I didn't see the video. They played Texas tonight.
Yeah. So there was videos of them. I don't know. I guess Texas, I guess it was just their hotel, and the students knew what hotel Texas and Chris Beard were staying at, and there's videos of just the kids surrounding the bus, throwing double birds up at Chris Beard. He's just sitting quietly in the front seat. I would have actually been terrified sitting on that bus. Texas Tech fans despise that man right now.
Yeah, Chris Beard going back to Lubbock tonight after doing a lot of great things there. Mark Adams, the coach of Texas Tech. So the most generic name ever in the history of college basketball, Mark Adams. So
is this the first time Chris Beard's come back to Lubbock?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. His first year in Austin. Number 23 Texas versus number 14 Texas Tech, 9:00 tonight on ESPN2. You also have Alabama at Auburn tonight, 9:00 on ESPN, and we get a text message from Dan who says $267 for the cheapest ticket there to catch Alabama and Auburn tonight in the Plains. That's what he sends in. We'll continue talking about that. We'll get back into some NFL discussion as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Oh, we move into the month of February, and I'm telling you what, one of the things you need to be doing is continuing to check out the current mortgage interest rates and see what you can do to get a fantastic deal. I'm telling you what, right now, Benji, Getsy, and Buford Lending, they are taking care of their clients, and you need to be one of them. So don't wait around. You can call Buford Lending today and get in touch with them. Refinancing is down, but it's still a great opportunity to lock up and shop great rates. So focus on getting pre-qualified for new new buys, cash out refinancing. Give Benji Getsy and his team a phone call today, 843-524-2404. The most important thing right now when looking for new rates, better rates, is having a mortgage lender with experience. And Benji has 25 years of experience in the industry and will be able to help shop and lock your rate in today. Give him a phone call, 843-524-2404. You can also visit him on the web, Buford.mortgage is the way to do that. Benji and his team have been named the top 1% of producing loan officers in the state of South Carolina and the entire United Wholesale Mortgage Network. So if you're purchasing, you need to shop your rate with Benji, Getsy, and Buford Lending. 843-524-2404. That commercial. I don't know.
Oh, RL, that could be dangerous.
Now I got the 2 sleep numbers. Yeah, we just had to. It goes into a different program, so y'all aren't able to hear me as I'm cutting the promos right now.
You aren't missing anything.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything. Just spots.
You can read lips,
We had a
RL. Look
discussion
at that.
about Applebee's the other day. I'm not anti-Applebee's. 7:51 on a beautiful Tuesday morning. We'll get to hour number 3 here in a few minutes as we will get more into that South Carolina basketball game against Mississippi State tonight. Also, back to the NFL discussion for Patrick, as yesterday was weigh-in day down at the Senior Bowl. J.J. Ngbare doing what he needed to do, show up, look big, look pretty, big hands. The wingspan, we joke about it. The hands, I think, for a defensive lineman, certainly you want to have the big hands for them as they have to go against offensive tackles or whatever they may do in terms of rushing the passer. But, Patrick, the wingspan is what is most important. And also, yesterday you said there was a freak of nature that measured in at the you know, if you're not watching the live stream, Patrick, with a roll of the eyes there, yes. Who is the freak of nature yesterday?
His name's Daniel Fa'alele. He's Australian. He played for Minnesota Gophers.
I think they're the Golden Gophers, sir.
The Golden Gophers. He's a Gopher. He is so large, and I think he's lost weight before. I think he lost weight to get to 6'8", 387, and he had to trim down to get there because the rumors of when he got to Minnesota was that he was 6'9" and 410 pounds. And if you watch him on the football field, I mean, we talk about Evan Neal, who's a potential number 1 pick, is a enormous human being. This guy makes him look small. I mean, he's maybe the largest person I've ever seen on a football field. It's ridiculous to be 387 pounds, but he's like actually can move pretty well. I don't know if he'll be a first round pick because he's still very raw, but he's gonna get drafted high because you just don't find 6'8", 387 pounders. He had 35 and 3/8 inch arms. He had 11-inch hands. Like, he is such a large human being. His wingspan is like over 7 feet tall. I think it's 7 feet and 2 inches or something like that. He's just an absolutely gargantuan human being. So he kind of made the headlines in a good way yesterday. And then Kenny Pickett was the star of the show for negative headlines.
And what were those?
And the headlines were that he didn't measure his hands because they're so small. And he says it's because he's double jointed, but people are saying it's actually because his hands are 8 1/4 inches long. So
I say, because if you're double jointed, you can really stretch.
I don't think that excuse holds water. And we couldn't find a tape measure, but at the bottom of the last hour, we did grab a sheet of paper. And I know that I have small hands and I can't grip a football and I can't throw a spiral. And I know that I have bigger hands than Kenny Pickett because they're wider than a sheet of paper. So if you are in front of a sheet of paper right now, see if your hands are wider than that. And if so, you have bigger hands than Kenny Pickett, who might be a first round pick. Maybe, but I don't think he's going to. I don't think.
All right, we'll get down. I want to get back into that. You think maybe because now I think you're concerned. This was a guy who
people are scared.
People were talking about now as a top 15 pick, maybe even a top 10 pick. We'll get into that in hour number 3. We'll talk about some of the things that's happening. Obviously, we'll get back into the Tom Brady discussion as well. So plenty for us to break down, analyze, whole bunch of things going on here. And we'll maybe even get back into the Valentine's candy hearts discussion that is so vital to the next 2 weeks in our country's health. Because if you eat those things, can't promise that you're going to make it to Valentine's Day. We'll get more into that. You're listening to The Early Game, 107.5 The Game.
Yes, Craig, that's how I did it. That's how they do it.
All right, 2 sleep numbers and we're done.
All right, Bill's recording more promos. And a great hope. I have one of them set on my counter right now.
Heart-shaped Reese's. That does sound good, Hope. I can get on board with heart-shaped Reese's.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Great news. New Love Chevy Silverados are here with all the savings and none of the price hiking add-ons that you'll find at other dealers. Love Chevrolet.
Oh.
Welcome to the early game.
And we're back. We're back.
It's time for the early game, where the bacon is always prepared properly. My Grand Slam was supposed to be with
Bill and I will record a cameo. You can pay us. The 1,000th person to subscribe can pay us to record a cameo for you.
Pay you?
Yeah, cameos cost money.
Yeah, but they're subscribing to us.
Yeah,
so
they get
there
a-
are thousands.
well,
That's a reward.
They get a free cameo from
Yeah.
us. Yeah,
Well, their reward for subscribing is they get to watch our live stream every day.
it's true.
It's
It's
free.
also a good point.
It's
It is
free of charge.
free. Yeah, it is free of charge. So yeah, you can go and click and subscribe to our 107.5 The Game live stream. You go do that and weigh in as well to be a part of that. York and Hope debating the Reese's heart shaped. What is it? Whatever they are, they're the heart shape for Valentine's. Those
Yeah.
are quite delicious. Those are
They're
quite
all good.
delicious. So
They just made the Reese's big cups with potato chips. Those are not good. Those are the first Reese's I haven't really enjoyed.
I'm being informed by our resident. Yep, there we are. We're at 1,000.
Like that.
Good job. Good job, everybody. Good job. Everything that we've been working for the last several years has
Wow.
finally.
How cool is
I don't know.
that?
We have reached the pinnacle of this radio show. We have
Nope,
reached
now we're
1,000.
going for 2,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Fine. We're gonna just push the goalpost a little bit further out.
What Tom Brady said, favorite Super Bowl is the next one. We're not satisfied. We want 2,000 now.
Yeah.
So the 2,000th subscriber, you guys can get a cameo from Bill. and I.
Another cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll continue down that path. But here's what we've been talking about this morning. That has been sponsored by Love Chevrolet. We've been talking about South Carolina and Mississippi State tonight in Starkville, 7:00 tip off over at I think it's they call it the Hump. I think it's Humphreys. I forget the actual name of it. They call it the Hump. I've been there a couple times. Good little facility. Should be a fun game. Mississippi State a 7.5 to 8.5 point favorite. South Carolina coming off the 74-63 victory over Texas A&M. We've been discussing that. We've also gotten into some Tom Brady discussion this morning as it pertains to what he may or may not do. I think we're all, Patrick, if you had to lay money on it, you going with he does retire, or
Yeah.
do you think okay?
Yeah.
All right, we're on the camp of we do think he'll retire. Patrick's pulling for him though to have a farewell tour, to basically tell Adam Schefter to stick it, that his report would be wrong, to come back for one more year and have a farewell tour, which you've already said you really don't like because you're not pleased that Coach K is doing a farewell tour.
Yeah, I don't like the farewell tour thing. I like that Tom Brady was planning on just dropping it out of nowhere. But if the cost of the spite year is a farewell tour, I'll accept the farewell tour.
Okay.
Or if Tom Brady just does a spite 2 years so that he keeps us guessing, I'm okay with that too.
Just play it out. Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about Tom Brady. We've also talked about the Reese's Senior Bowl taking place down in Alabama as players try to make an impression on some NFL scouts and find their way into the NFL. You mentioned Nick Muse. He's not at the Senior Bowl. He's at the other one.
East-West Shrine Bowl.
East-West Shrine Bowl game. And you said that he had gotten some pretty strong reviews so far for his work.
Yeah, I mean, they had a practice session yesterday that there's a lot of media at, and I saw a couple people. I just keyword searched his name on Twitter, and a couple people tweeting that he was one of the winners of the day or had the best practice sessions. I saw a video of him scoring a touchdown, and seems like he's doing pretty well out there. He's also listed. I saw he was listed as a fullback / tight end or tight end / fullback. I think that's kind of interesting. He played. I wouldn't say he really played fullback much. He lined up in the backfield from time to time, but it wasn't too often that he was out there lead blocking like a fullback, was it?
No, and I don't know how we would rate his blocking as a tight end.
In line, it was not good.
I don't feel like it was. Yeah, I don't feel like it was that great. And as a blocker, I don't know. It's going to be kind of interesting to see.
But maybe that's. I mean, it's different putting your hand on the ground and having to block someone who will potentially be like a defensive end, having to block someone who's much bigger than you, versus lining up in the backfield and lead blocking as a fullback. Might be a little bit easier for someone his size. The league's going away from fullbacks though either way. So if you're drafting Nick Muse, I think you're drafting him to be kind of a move tight end who it will probably be standing up, not in a 3-point stance, probably not blocking very much, and you're hoping that he can just win matchups against safeties and linebackers.
So we've got that. That's what we've been talking about this morning, sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Let's get back into a little bit of the Tom Brady discussion just for a second there, and as it pertains to the NFC South, Patrick, because that division all of a sudden, if Tom Brady does indeed move on, which we expect him to do, the Panthers situation is an absolute disaster right now. They don't know what they're going to do at quarterback, and there had been some discussion about maybe Kenny Pickett being a draft choice for them, but he did not. This hand size thing appears to be a very interesting topic. So you talk about a guy dropping in the draft, and maybe they look more to a Sam Howell. Maybe they make a play for a Russell Wilson. The Atlanta Falcons.
All of the quarterbacks except for Matt Corral are at the Senior Bowl right now. So this will be a big week for that. I think a lot of people expect a really strong showing from Sam Howell this week.
The Falcons have Matt Ryan, but how much longer do you think the Falcons go with Matt Ryan? Because it feels like this is kind of like, to use a NASCAR term, the rest of the race, the NFC South, is right now in the pits. They're trying to figure out how to improve their car and get better and get back out.
Is that a Kyle Pitts?
No. Well, I meant actually like the pit like in the pit. Yeah, but
The Falcons are in the pits.
but right now, I mean, Matt Ryan will be 37 when next season starts. I don't know if you can trade for a guy and bring him in to sit. So you probably are having to draft a guy, and I don't know what direction that they would go. You'd assume that they would draft a guy and maybe have Matt Ryan around for a year or two. I don't know how Matt Ryan would feel about doing the
mentor
tutoring,
thing.
the mentoring thing. But you look at it, they've got to make a decision on what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have a long-term solution, all indications are that Arthur Smith really likes Matt Ryan and thinks that Matt Ryan's got a couple more years in him. So I think he's expecting to keep Matt Ryan around for a little while. But when you don't think that the quarterback, I guess I would say like 3 years out, if you don't think you have the quarterback on your roster that you expect to be your quarterback in 3 years, I think it makes sense to draft all the time, especially if you're a flawed team. And the Falcons are a highly flawed team. I mean, they have a couple stars. Kyle Pitts is going to be a star in the NFL. Calvin Ridley, we have no idea what's going on with him,
Right.
if he's even going to play football anymore. I mean, he stepped away from the game last year, dealing with some off the field stuff, and I don't know if that's been – nobody's heard a word from him, so I don't even know if they are counting on him being on the team next year. So they've got – like, if he comes back, they have a couple targets, but their line's not good. Their defense has not been good for quite some time. So I think they're mostly in a rebuilding mode, but they're just kind of – it's always weird to be a team on the rebuild, but with a veteran quarterback that can kind of win you games and kind of delays the rebuild. You can't get into that number 1 or top 5 pick territory. You're just constantly in the 5 to 10 range. Or, I mean, they picked 4 last year and they got Kyle Pitts, but they weren't in the running for the top 3 quarterbacks. So if you're not going to be one of the worst teams and have a chance for the top quarterback, it's really hard to fully reset. I think that's kind of the whole NFC South right now. Like the Panthers, they have a decent little roster. Obviously, there's massive holes. Their offensive line is terrible, but they have a young defense with a lot of promise, and that's going to win them games by itself. The Bucks obviously have a super talented team right now. Even without Tom Brady, they'll probably win some games. And the Saints, I don't know who the coach is going to be. Brian Flores is, I think, interviewing with them today, but they still have a strong roster. So they're all just like a quarterback short of being good teams. Or I guess 3 of them are a quarterback short of being good teams, and the Falcons are just kind of in no man's land. It's if Tom Brady is retired, which I believe he is, it's the worst division of football, and I don't think it's that close.
Well, you know what? You take that if you're a Panthers fan, that's good. That's okay. That's livable because you got 6
Yeah.
games against those 3 teams, and all of a sudden the rebuild to get back to winning that division and then taking a step further to becoming a Super Bowl contender. It's not as far of a climb because the division is going down. Now things can flip very quickly here. You mentioned it. We'll see what the Saints do with their quarterback situation. I'll say this again. I will be interested if you get a full-on exodus from Tampa. If Brady leaves, I know you've got certain players locked up with contracts, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, there will be, off the top of my head, Brady will be gone. Gronk will be gone. You will have Chris Godwin, who was on a franchise tag this year and didn't even finish the season because he was hurt. He'll walk and go get a long-term deal somewhere. AB is already gone. Their defense is mostly young, but Ndamukong Suh might retire. Shaq Barrett's locked up for a long time, so that you're good there. But yeah, there's at least 5 key components of that team that are going to be gone.
Well, I'll give you the other one. Bruce Arians will be 70 next year.
Yeah.
He'll be 70 in October. Does he want to go through kind of a rebuild, essentially, or does he? If this is the decision of Tom Brady, does Bruce Arians look around and go, I got my Super Bowl. I've had a great career, done a lot of great things. You mentioned, I think we kind of joked about it. Does he say, all right, he could go do something in the television booth. He could go down to Key West and hang out with Jimmy Johnson. He could go do a bunch of things. Does he want to be a part of that, knowing that it's probably a 2 or 3 year process of getting them back?
Yeah, maybe, I mean, some of these guys just can't live without football. I don't see Bruce Arians as that guy, though. He just doesn't seem like it. But I think he would be best served to hang it up. I mean, he is old. It never ceases to amaze me that he coached for Bear Bryant. Like,
I was just looking at that 81.
Insane.
Yeah, 80 is that right? 81, 82. So yeah, Virginia Tech, Mississippi State, Alabama, Temple. I didn't realize he was the Temple head coach from 83 to 88, and then he moved on to the NFL, and has spent a lot of time there in the NFL, and certainly is a guy that has a strong background. He's been obviously the Arizona Cardinals head football coach. He was the interim for the Colts in 2012. He's been in football coaching since 1975, and that's why I just say, you look at it, if Tom Brady walks out the door, if Gronk walks out the door, if you see kind of having to rebuild a little bit, he'll be 70 on October 3rd. Maybe he gives the Tampa Bay one more year to kind of get a plan in place. I could also see him saying, "No, I'm
No,
good."
thank you. I don't want to be a part of a rebuild. Yeah. I mean, if I was Bruce Arians, I would be done right now. And when Matt Rule gets fired halfway through next season, you're going to have Arthur Smith in his second year as the longest tenured head coach in the division. And somebody texted in the Falcons owner's name is Arthur Blank. I might have said Arthur Blank instead of Arthur Smith. I don't think I did. I think I got it right. But yeah, Arthur Smith and Arthur Blank. It's easy to mix those two up.
Few other things NFL related. You mentioned on the live stream earlier that Jim Harbaugh is in the news as a potential candidate at Minnesota. That would be crazy to see Harbaugh leave now this late in the college coaching cycle. If he left again, tomorrow is technically National Signing Day. I don't know if there's any news that'll come out of it like it used to be. But to see Harbaugh leave this late and Michigan have to go on a coaching search would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, but I said the NFC South would be the worst division of football by a long shot. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, the Vikings are blowing it up. Kirk Cousins will probably be gone. The NFC North could definitely be in that discussion if Aaron Rodgers leaves, because I don't know who would be there to win the division. Maybe the Bears if Justin Fields has a big second-year jump. But Harbaugh, I think in his heart, feels like an NFL guy. Like I think if the Vikings offered him his job, I think he's probably going to take it. I mean, I feel like he probably thinks that, all right, I achieved what I needed to achieve at Michigan, and he might realize that a national championship's just not coming. It's too far away. The SEC is too big of a beast to overcome. The best we can hope for is bringing them to the college football playoff, beating Ohio State, and maybe someone else can take it from here. Like, I conquered Goliath, or one Goliath. That was Ohio State. But we're just not there. We're not going to go to the college football playoff and beat Alabama. It'll never happen. So back to the NFL where I'm more comfortable.
I wonder, you're right. He gets Michigan to the college football playoff. He thumps Ohio State. Everything kind of falls his way. The only other way it gets any better to walk out the door is to win a national championship, and it's hard to see that happening. Larry on the Buford Lending live stream, whether this would happen or not, I don't know. Matt Rule to Michigan, you feel like Matt Rule would take that? That's the lifeline you need to get out. But does he consider himself an NFL guy, or does he think that college is probably where he's more likely to succeed?
Well, there's no way these guys with those egos, he's not just going to leave the NFL for college without getting fired.
You don't think so?
Has anyone ever done that?
Not off the top of my head, but I can't necessarily. I mean,
But Bo Pelini was going to get fired, right? Or did he get fired?
Bo Pelini wasn't a head coach in the NFL.
What was it?
He wasn't a head coach in the NFL.
Who am I thinking of?
I don't know who you're thinking of.
Bo Pelini.
Bo Pelini was a defensive coordinator. It was the head football coach at Nebraska.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, he wasn't that. I don't know who you're thinking of there. We'll try and figure that out. We will get back into some of this because certainly some NFL talk, and we'll get back into the South Carolina basketball discussion as well tonight, 7:00 in Starkville. They take on Mississippi State.
He did go from the Packers to Nebraska, but he was just a linebackers coach there.
Yeah, it seems a little bit better. Yeah, Saban,
but
technically left.
Was he going to get fired? I mean, I was too young at the time. This was 2005. I was 10 years old, but things were going horribly wrong, right?
Well, they weren't going great, but he wasn't really losing, if I remember correctly. He made a player cry. Like, he was kind of a taskmaster and, was I guess a jerk, but I don't think,
yeah, Bobby Petrino was who I was thinking of.
Okay.
Bo Pelini, Bobby Petrino.
Gotcha.
That's where I was.
I was trying to go back and look at the Miami year. I mean, he was 9-7 and 6-10 during his time with the Dolphins. I think he just decided it wasn't going to work and decided he needed to go back to college. So who knows? I mean,
that's what I thought Bobby Petrino was too, right? He left in the middle of the season.
Yeah, but he left in the middle of the night. Yeah, he left in the middle of December, in the middle of the night, and hightailed it on. So yeah,
I guess nobody that's been successful has left the NFL to go back to college, but Matt Rule is not successful. I don't know if he would be I don't know if he's willing to admit that I was a failure as an NFL coach yet. Panthers fans are. That nothing would make them happier than him leaving for Michigan. I don't know who they would hire in his stead, but yeah, it would be interesting. I don't even know who would be a candidate for that job at this point. It's so late. I mean, Luke Fickle's not leaving.
Hard to say. We'll continue talking about. I'm just looking up. We got someone else who sent in. Zach said, Patrick is thinking of Bill Callahan. Callahan got fired from the Raiders and then went to Nebraska.
I was thinking Bobby Petrino.
Yeah, Bobby Petrino. All right, we'll continue discussing this. We'll get back into some basketball discussion. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Staying warm right now. It's going to be a little bit warmer today, but this weekend, I think the cold weather is definitely coming back, and having your house properly heated, it's pretty important right now, because let me tell you, if you wake up and that heating and air unit has gone out and it's in the 50s in your house, people won't like you. Your family members, the dogs, the cats, all the animals, they're not going to be big fans of yours. Make sure that your heating and air unit is working by staying in touch with AAA Heating and Air. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. Get AAA Heating and Air out to your house for an inspection. All it'll cost is $59. That's well worth the money spent to make sure that heating and air unit continues to work properly. If there is a problem, Roy and Dana Finley, they'll make sure you're taken care of. They treat all their customers like they are family members, because they want to make sure your family is happy. If there is a problem, they will offer you a $1,500 buyback of your old unit, then work with those who qualify for no money down, 0% financing, and finally a 15-year parts and labor warranty, guaranteeing you they are there to make sure that heating and air unit continues to work properly. So don't wait around. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500.
Still working just that earlier accident, Hallbrook Drive at Garners Ferry Road. And a new accident just coming in, I-77 northbound at Killian Road. Your forecast for today, 60 for the high, 35 for your overnight low, and tomorrow, 65 for the high, 50 for that overnight low. So a little bit better coming in to work. Right now, it's 36 at 107.5 The Game.
William, I have not seen Deuce Staley's name mentioned in any interviews this cycle. No. I don't know why he would step down from the NFL to go take a college job. There's, I'd say, zero chance that Sean Payton would take the Michigan job. He quit. That was a dumpster fire.
All of a sudden, the studio just decided it was going to freeze over. Where is Deuce? Where is Deuce at now? Philly still?
Detroit.
Detroit. That's right. You're right. He went to Detroit.
I mean, he's never been a coordinator. He's been an associate head coach, but I don't think he doesn't really have the head coaching resume quite yet. Although our boy Easterby is onto some weird stuff in Houston right now. One of the favorites is Josh McCown, who was on the Texans last year.
Ah, yeah, I saw that.
And they're just interviewing all people that no one else is interviewing.
Yeah.
They are a joke. I think a lot of people like to see that, Larry. Not going to happen, though. They can't pay him. Can't pay him what the NFL's paying. He's had a lot of success in the NFL. He's got a ring.
$8:27 on a Tuesday morning, first day of February. Tomorrow is Groundhog Day. So does that mean you will watch the movie Groundhog Day tonight with Bill Murray? Is
I'm
that
gonna
it?
try to squeeze it in.
Try and get it in a little bit. Jen, are you Groundhog Day fan? I mean, it's really just not a fan of Bill Murray, not a fan of. I think so. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Pittsburgh State's so good.
Really?
Oh, it's happy, though. Yeah. Remember that cool Groundhog Day Super Bowl commercial last year or the year before?
No, I don't.
Oh, That's cool.
We'll have to Google that one again later. Yeah, tomorrow, I guess it's as I'm reading it each year on Groundhog Day. So I guess it's
What time is
it's
this going?
It's not Groundhog's Day. It's not. It's
Just
plural.
one.
It's not a day for all the groundhogs. It's
Just
singular.
Phil.
Yeah, it's they will. Okay, everybody will flock to Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney.
Gobbler's Knob.
Punxsutawney, I think it's
Punxsutawney.
Tawny, Pennsylvania, to await the forecast of local rodent celebrity of Punxsutawney Phil, or originating with German settlers who came to Pennsylvania in the 1700s and brought their seasonal superstitions with them. Legend has it that if Phil sees a shadow on February 2nd, the winter chill will continue. And I tell you what, it has been chilly. I don't know if it's me or if it's just the last few weeks have been colder than normal.
I think it's been colder than normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oddly enough, if the weather is cloudy and he does not see his shadow, we can expect warmer temperatures in an early spring. We will have all that for you tomorrow morning. We will keep you updated.
What time does he get out there?
Good question. What time do they?
I think it's like just after daybreak or something, isn't it? Because that's when they can kind of officially can't necessarily look for a shadow if there's no sunlight.
It's true.
I don't even know how to.
I would like to go on record and say I think Groundhog Day is stupid.
It is. Well, and that's why I said I don't like the movie either.
I can never recall waking up and putting on. What is it on? Just the news? Is there a channel for Groundhog Day?
The fact that I'm having to Google and search to see what time they will get him out is.
I've never turned on the TV to look for the groundhog.
It's
ceremony.
It's just a fun thing, you know. They all get all dressed up and they have their
Do they have
scroll.
fun?
Oh yeah, their scroll and their proclamation and you know they're all dressed up.
6:30 a.m.
Okay.
Groundhog Day 2022 will be celebrated at Gobbler's Knob at approximately 6:30 a.m. That's when Punxsutawney Phil is anticipated to leave his burrow and look for his shadow. I don't want him looking for his shadow, right? Like if he sees the shadow, that's bad. I mean, we don't want him looking for it.
Yeah.
So that's it. So
these guys in their suits. Are they like doing it kind of ironically, like it's just a fun thing for them to do, or are they?
No,
really
it's just
serious?
people who take it way too seriously.
Yeah, they're very serious. Yeah.
No, I mean these are people who plan. Listen to this. I did not. You're right. I've seen the movie. I'm aware of Groundhog Day. I guess most of the time I forget about it until like 2 days later, and then I'm having to go back and research and see what happened. You want to guess what time they get started tomorrow morning?
It's got to be like 3
a.m.
Okay.
A stage show will kick off the events, just a stage show at Gobbler's Knob at 3 a.m. I wonder if 803-404-6100. Anybody listening, have you ever been to this thing? Has anybody ever been up there?
It's going to be.
I wonder what the tourism is for that particular event. You know,
it's currently 21 degrees in Punxsutawney.
Yeah, what's it going to be at 3 a.m.?
Colder.
It's going to be below 21 degrees.
Well, that's why they're dressed so well. You know,
it's a low of 12 today.
Yeah,
they're probably wearing wetsuits under their suits.
Could be.
I've heard that's the move. I shouldn't say that. I could pretty much do anything for money. I was gonna say you couldn't pay me to go.
Yeah, Patrick is easily bought.
Yeah.
You can get Patrick to do whatever you want. Just offer him, throw a couple dollars at him.
A free flight, food, and lodging and everything. I'd go for like $200.
All right, so tomorrow morning at 6:30, we'll have the groundhog. We'll know what we won't have him on air. He was booked. We couldn't get him, but we will have. We'll keep you updated on that. The other thing that happens tomorrow, Patrick, and in all seriousness, Washington is I don't know where you want to put it at now, was a proud football franchise.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we had all this stuff with the naming. Tomorrow morning, sometime between 7:30 and 8:30, they're going to announce the new Washington football mascot. And I got to admit, I kind of just like them sticking with Washington football team. If of all the names you've given me, the Commanders, the Admirals, the Generals, the Machines, whatever, I actually kind of like Washington football team. It's a throwback. You can I don't know, you can put something out. You can put a mouse out there as the mascot. I don't care, whatever.
But I think it's interesting that they're willing to risk the ratings going up against like Punxsutawney Phil, like that. 2 major events tomorrow morning. The name of the team.
Well, I think that's why they said they're going to wait till 7:30. get Phil.
Get all the
But I'd love to see who
back in
tunes
his-
in.
It's
to the
actually
Today Show
a
for
very
more.
good job because you do it an hour later. There's the
Mhm.
complete breakdown of the groundhog. If he saw a shadow, what it means, the weather forecast. Would you say it's Al Roker will have a complete breakdown while he's probably grilling a groundhog or
I was
something.
gonna say groundhogs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now that but the bottom line is, how interested? That's your football team. You already seem a little grizzled about the potential name of it.
I have zero enthusiasm about
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I mean, I know that I'm not going to like the name. I mean, and if it's Commanders, I'll be just so annoyed because everyone knows that it's going to be Commanders at this point.
Yep.
So if they come out and at least if they throw us a curveball, I'll at least be impressed that they were able to keep it under wraps. But if it's Commanders,
And
it's the
then
worst kept secret in the world.
and people
right
are going to make fun of it and call it Commando. Like
Yeah.
it's a
It's
no.
There's not going to be a good name. Every name that was suggested stinks.
Just not a fan. Okay.
No, I mean it's just not what I grew up with. It's not going to be the same
I agree.
thing. Like I'm gonna hate it. The only thing that got fan support was overwhelmingly on Twitter, at least on social media, was Red Wolves. People wanted Red Wolves, and a couple weeks ago they came out with the announcement saying, "Yeah, sorry, it's not going to be Red Wolves. Too many trademark issues." So I mean, whatever. They said that they were listening to the fans. It's been a 2-year process. They should have just done what the Cleveland Indians did and change it overnight and
It's true.
call it a day. Like
Well,
this whole thing's been stupid. We waited 2 years to just announce a name that everyone's gonna hate.
I don't know. The texter that just sent in, A, gets the show as good as anybody, and B, this is a great suggestion. Obviously, they will be the Washington Groundhogs.
Well, there's all sorts of theories.
That's my thing.
I would
I'm
love
thinking.
that. It would be
Won't be
all
Groundhogs,
for
it'll be
that.
Red Hogs.
Red Hogs?
Yeah, there were theories that they announced Groundhog Day, so it'd be the Red Hogs.
Mm-hmm.
I would like the Red Hogs better than Commanders.
I would be all for this. I would be all for Groundhogs. I mean, look.
If it's Commanders objectively stinks.
All right,
That name
so
sucks.
If you see Commanders as the Washington football name tomorrow, and you want to hear a very angry 25-year-old lifetime fan, just tune in at about 8:15, 8:30
I'm
tomorrow
not gonna
morning.
be angry. Like I'm already like it
Drop off some of those candy hearts. That'll make them feel
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, that makes
It's-
everybody feel better.
Yeah.
That's a
I'd be more sad than anything, but it's already past it. We didn't have a name for a whole year. Like
that's why
I'm
I like,
over it, whatever it is, but you're not going to hear me saying like go Commanders. I'm a huge Commanders fan. I'll just say Washington.
Yeah.
Commanders is stupid. You'll never see me wearing a shirt with a
You go Commando.
ship- a
See,
ship
look at
on
that
it.
full circle.
Yeah. dumb. It's all going to stink, whatever. I know it's the thing is like I'm not excited, so I'm not going to be disappointed. There's no way that they're going to there's no way that they're going to just come out of the blue with a name that has not been mentioned already.
that
It's
is
not possible.
That is actually I think the perfect way to handle it is to not get excited. That way you can't be disappointed.
Yeah.
That's how people
It's
listen
a good
most
attitude.
mornings for the
That's
show.
Most mornings, yeah. No excitement. That way you can't be disappointed. 803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning. Again, South Carolina, Mississippi State tonight from Starkville. That game you can hear right here on 107.5 The Game. It's starting at 6:45. Also, you can catch it on ESPNU. The Gamecocks a 7.5 to 8.5 point underdog. And Patrick, if they win this, they get above 500 tonight in conference play with Tennessee coming to town. Tennessee's still ranked after the loss over the weekend. And as we've kind of said for most of the morning, this is a game. It's not a must win, but it's one that really, I think, energizes or to some extent energizes or maybe just keeps the fan base invested because you lose this one, but you win Saturday. It kind of evens out. I think obviously you need to go 2-0 this week, but not going 0-2 is important. Go at least splitting.
Yeah, and right, if you lose this one but you win Saturday, it cancels out. But you also want to win this one so that Saturday can be a better like environment. And I know people know that Gigi Jackson will be there and they want to represent the university or the fan base well in front of a ranked opponent at home. Like you want to kind of have the pride of saying we can at least put 10,000 in this arena for a big game. If not, it's just kind of sad. So just give the fans something to cheer for and some hope. So yeah, I think it's a very important game. You're at the point of the season where you don't have too many more chances to make a statement. You don't have too many chances to bolster your resume. Next week is a huge week, but it'll be even more important if you lose this game. So start winning a couple games, back-to-back games where you're 7-point underdogs on the road would be huge. Then you can come home and get comfortable where you play your best basketball. It set you up in a really good position.
803-404-6100. We'll wrap up that conversation as well as some NFL conversations. Get Patrick's final take on JJ Enagbare, maybe what you're looking for. Also, Zaquandre White, what he needs to do down at the Senior Bowl this week too. You got him as a draftable prospect right now?
Yeah.
He's in there?
Yeah.
We'll get
my Twitter right now, Lance Zerline, who does all the write-ups for NFL Network, he's a big-time draft analyst, posted when he was just clearly breaking down Zaquandre White. I don't even really remember this play, but just a ridiculous cut. I guess 3 cuts in one play from Zaquandre White with the caption, I tore my own ACL just watching these cut angles. So look on my Twitter and you can see what he tweeted. He is the burst that Zaquandre White has, or his just ability to make quick cuts is really insane.
We'll get it. We'll let Patrick kind of analyze that, break that down as well. And again, JJ Enagbare, at least measuring yesterday at the Senior Bowl and how that went for him. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
All right, I'll go through this list. The Wizards is a stupid name. The Wizards have rebranded a million times. They're a terrible franchise. So yes, Lakers, they came from Minnesota, so it was actually made sense back then. Jazz, I don't really know. I kind of like Jazz. Orlando Magic are trash franchise, so that's kind of dumb too. Saints is cool. The Saints are just a really objectively cool team. Chiefs is cool. Buffalo Bill's cool. Texans, dumb. Browns, I don't know what the history is there, but classic. But no, I know Washington D.C. collectively hated Wizards. I think everyone still kind of hates Wizards. We all want to be the Bullets. Bullets is cool. Yeah, I'd say Wizards and Magic are equally dumb. I kind of like all the other ones though. Texans is you could have come up with something better than Texans, but garbage franchise anyway. Saints is cool. Saints is objectively cool.
We will get to him. We will get to him. Bob? Okay. We'll get your NFL takes. Well, yeah, I was gonna say we can say we might. That might be
It might be it. This might be it. I mean, right now I'm looking. Oh gosh, I'm looking at pictures of the actual event, and there's so many people there. It's so embarrassing. If you're not from within an hour of Punxsutawney, you have no business going to this thing. I don't want to be mean to this guy, Bob, though. Buffalo Bill killed a bunch of buffaloes. Kind of a bad guy, but killed like thousands of buffaloes on the homestead. Washington landslide. Yeah, awful. I think Kraken's cool. Kraken was controversial though. I think people in Seattle were expecting to be like the Sockeyes or something like that. I think it was supposed to be something salmon related, and they came out of nowhere with Kraken. Kraken is cool though. I'm with it. Much cooler than Commanders or Wizards.
$8:45 on a Tuesday morning as we have covered a wide variety of topics, but ask and you will receive. Bob is on the Love Chevy phone lines, and you've been to Punxsutawney and you've experienced the Groundhog Day. What is it like? Give us a breakdown.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I grew up in Pittsburgh. I lived there for 55 years, and I've been down here in South Carolina for about the past 8. And many of the times when I visited Punxsutawney to see Phil was when I was a younger lad. So at that time, there was a lot of alcohol involved. But you are not allowed to drink at Gobbler's Knob. Gobbler's Knob it's a field. It's about 2 miles outside of Punxsutawney. And they open the gates at around, like you said, it's a free event. So they open the gates at around like 3 o'clock in the morning. And they do have, a little stage up there, and they bring Phil out of, theoretically it's a cage, but they call it his temporary home, his temporary burrow. And they'll hold Phil up in the air, and everybody will cheer. Average attendance is somewhere between 10 and 20,000. But I heard from one of my friends, a lot of my friends still go, and they're probably getting ready to go today or tomorrow. But I think they had like 30,000 or something, like several years ago. That's like, I think the most they ever had. But they'll hold Phil up in the air, and they'll give him the royal Philness speech. And then what he will do is they will, the Grand Master will grab Phil, and he'll hold Phil by his ear. And of course, he's wearing gloves because back in the day, a couple people did get bit because Phil can get ornery, especially when you get him up that early in the morning. But he will speak in the Grand Master's ear in Groundhogese.
Oh.
And he will tell the Grand Master his prediction. And then they have 2 scrolls. And one is 6 more weeks of winter, and the other one is life's getting better. So, and then after it's done, it pretty much wraps up real quick, and then everybody goes down and gets happy. And to go with it's no different than like an Oktoberfest kind of thing. They think it's a hoot and a holler. It's a big fun thing. I still have a coin I got back in the day. They give out coins and stuff. So yeah, it's a heck of a lot of fun. They take themselves not too seriously.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, good.
It's like I said, It's just a hoot and a holler.
Doesn't sound like
it's a great
Oktoberfest
time.
if you can't drink on Gobbler's Knob.
Well, but the idea is you got to be at least sober there to talk to Phil. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And after that, Phil don't really care what you do.
I mean,
Although,
30,000 people.
well,
Yeah,
wait,
that's
you're
like
saying
the most ever.
you're saying that the patrons, I feel like they need names, kind of like the Masters calls them patrons or whatever. But the 30,000, they're not allowed to drink, or just as I'm reading, the inner circle, the people who actually talk. Because I would agree, if you've been drinking prior to talking to a groundhog, you might misconstrue what he says.
Absolutely, but you're not allowed to have alcohol on the grounds.
Gotcha.
I mean, 10,000 people. What are you doing?
Gobbler's Knob.
Well,
they're definitely bringing like water bottles in.
I was going to say that. I mean, yeah,
people.
Hey, you're not allowed to go 58 in a 55 mile an hour speed zone either.
Yeah.
So
right,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah. So
I
was going to say, what else are 10,000 people doing? There's no way everyone can see, right?
Oh no, there's people. Yeah, you're not even. Yeah, you can't see diddly in the back, and most people don't go to see diddly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just go to sit there, have a good old time, and like I said, it's a giant race back to Punxsutawney.
Yeah.
You know,
that's where.
And
so
find yourself a seat.
Is the day after the day after Groundhog Day? Is that typically an off day for most people?
To be honest with you, I have not remembered many of those.
Okay,
days,
gotcha. So
when I went there. So
all right.
Yeah, for me it was an off day.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
No better place for single Yinzer to go find a Valentine than Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
I appreciate thank you for calling in. Thank you for that. That's a lot of. I'm a good fan. I'm a big fan of a hoot and holler. I am. I enjoy a good hoot and holler, and quite frankly, that I'm with you, Patrick.
I'm glad he's from Pittsburgh, because I was going to say, people that are driving hours to go experience this, that's crazy.
I mean, we do some crazy things. There's a lot of people who wake up. There's a lot of people who wake up and go out to a parking lot at 6 a.m. for a 12 p.m. football game, and they start.
Well,
they grill and they start drinking and they have a good time for
people that do that in this town aren't standing in 12-degree weather.
This is also very true. Is that what we've got as the
that's the low today. In Punxsutawney.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the wacky traditions, 5 bizarre things you did not know about the quirky tradition in Pennsylvania.
There's nothing that's not bizarre about Groundhog Day.
It's just old tradition that we hold near and dear. So get out your Groundhog Day shirts tomorrow, get dressed up, put on your groundhog hats around here, and celebrate. It is interesting. So apparently it's just one big day off, which I kind of makes me wonder. I'm guessing work production on Wednesday also going to be very low across the great state of Pennsylvania. I'm not expecting a whole lot out of that state on Wednesday. It sounds like as they recover from another fantastic Groundhog Day.
Yeah, their population is 5,700 in Punxsutawney.
So then it basically triples.
Yeah,
it triples. Okay, all right. That's what you want. By the way, the groundhog, according to this Punxsutawney Phil, is 135 years old. It's only 15 times longer than the upper end of a groundhog's typical lifespan. This is an immortal groundhog. And if you're wondering how he's become immortal, the inner circle, which is the guys who take care of him and whatnot, they claim they make him immortal by feeding him groundhog punch. So
a secret recipe, I'm assuming.
We like to keep you updated on this program on a lot of different things here, from liver pudding to Groundhog Day, and we have thoroughly covered both now.
Well, we should mention, Trey said it a bunch today. The Olympics start tomorrow. How many people listening actually knew that?
Preliminaries. Well, if you've been watching Peacock or NBC, they've had the
we've been watching ESPN for 3 hours. There's been zero mention of
ESPN is not mentioning it at all. Little Nas X, and that's one of the songs I've seen. It was on the previews were on all weekend as I was watching different sporting events across the television. You're right. ESPN has not mentioned it, but yeah, Winter Olympics. Are you into that a little bit?
A little bit. I don't know. Kind of. We're not as good at it. Us being America. We're not as good at the Winter Olympics.
Don't we? Didn't Sean
the NHL's not in hockey, which stinks. It is Shaun White's last Olympics, though. I will get into that. I will go ahead and look up when his events are and make sure that I watch the last of it. He's a legend. I do like Shaun White. I love me some Shaun White.
We'll continue on this week. We will get more into Groundhog Day tomorrow. We'll keep you updated. We will be your official Sports Talk Groundhog Day home first thing in the morning,
6:30. Live reaction to Punts
Live
Phil and the name
reaction,
change.
6:30 in the morning. And the Washington football name
wear
change.
My jacket, and then as soon as they announce it, I'll rip open and reveal my Washington Commanders shirt. I'll be really fired up and excited. I love the new name.
Big thank you to everybody joining us this morning. You can go back and check anything you missed on our podcast page. Go to 1075thegame.com, click on the podcast tab. At the top, Jen has got some segments up. And again, you can go to our YouTube page and rewatch all of today's episode and catch anything you missed. It's been the Tuesday edition, the first day of February, Groundhog Day tomorrow. Get fired up. We'll talk to you in the morning.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
All right, gang. First day in studio for us with the new setup. So
have a good day, guys.
No post show. We got to get out of here. Make way for Pearson. Talk to you all tomorrow.